was made over there next door to where we are tonight. The disqualification of maximum security, the Kentucky Derby. But tonight, a couple of college baseball thoroughbreds. Number 2, Vanderbilt. Number 5, Louisville, as they get set to play. This is the ACC on ESPN. And down the stretch they come alongside Chris Burke. I'm Carl Revy. Always wanted to say that. Yeah. And we're talking about two teams that got the eye on the big prize, which is Omaha. But there's a lot of work to do between now and then. And these two teams are red hot. When you look at Vanderbilt and you look at Louisville, what do you see?
I see 2 top 5 programs playing at the top 5 level. I mean, these are 2 of the best programs in college baseball. Vanderbilt, 13 straight tournament appearances, 3 College World Series appearances, the championship in 14. Louisville, Dan McDonnell has built a monster here. 4 trips to Omaha, including 3 of the last 6 seasons. Both offenses playing at a very high level. Vanderbilt leads the SEC in everything. Louisville extremely offensive as well. Elite players, elite programs, elite coaches coming in red hot. Vandy won 11 in a row. Louisville 16 of 17. It doesn't get much better than this, Carl.
No, it doesn't. And to stick with that whole horse analogy, you do have 2 horses that have been ridden by Vanderbilt all season long.
Yeah, you got arguably the best hitter in the country in Austin Martin and the best power hitter in the country in J.J. Bleday. Austin Martin is on everything, folks. You'll see the connection from pitch to pitch. He's hitting fastballs. He's hitting breaking balls up, down, in, and out. He is on everything. And J.J. Bleday is light tower power. He's going to hear his name called awfully early in the Major League draft. 23 home runs, a Vanderbilt single-season record. 2 of the best in the country, and they come at you 1 and 2 in the order.
And speaking of the order, it looks like that. Martin leads things off, and you see some humongous offensive numbers when it comes to batting average. Bleday passed Pedro Alvarez on the all-time home run list for Vanderbilt recently, and he is currently the top home run hitter in the country. Who else should we be looking for tonight in this lineup?
Well, Pat DeMarco, coming back off a leg injury, has been red hot. 424 in the last 9 games, and for a lineup that was already deep and super dangerous, he has added depth to the lineup, and he adds a little bit of swagger, plays a premium defensive position as well.
On the mound tonight for Louisville, and this is a kid who's only a freshman. His name's Jack Perkins, a 6'1", 220-pounder out of Kokomo, Indiana. Typical midweek guy, freshman, would move into the weekend rotation as he continues to move through his college career. They love him.
Yeah, they do. They love this kid's ceiling. A really, really good arm. Fastball up to 95. And the slider who Coach Dan McDonnell compared to J.B. Bukauskas, the former first-rounder from North Carolina. So they like this young man a lot, and he's going to have his hands full tonight.
Well, you already talked about Austin Martin, Bleday, Ethan Paul, the shortstop. Those are the 3 that Perkins will face to start tonight's game. He does come in with a 3-0 mark, a 3.20 ERA. Had a little bit of a spritz of rain about 45 minutes ago, but it has cleared out, and you could not have asked for a better night for a ball game. You'll see a huge crowd here at Patterson Stadium. There's pitch in there for a strike. Brandon Cooper behind the plate. He'll call balls and strikes. This is a pretty good game to do it in. Scott Klein, Chuck Pack, Chris Ward around the infield at first, second, and third year umpires tonight.
You don't see Austin Martin look fooled like that too often.
Right here, Bert.
73 hits on the season, 5 homers, 32 RBI, 0-2. On the ground is short. Tyler Fitzgerald throws out Austin Martin. Very efficient work, and that pitch came in at 96 miles an hour. And here comes J.J. Bleday. And you look at what Bleday did last year relative to this year, and you certainly would find yourself asking, what happened? He missed a handful of games last year with an oblique injury, but to explode after a summer at the Cape Cod League for 23 home runs and 61 RBI, and it's been 11 homers in his last 15 games. And that one is towards the seats down the left field line. It'll get out of play.
Yeah, this is not a young man who's just been feasting on midweek games or pre-conference games. He has done a ton of damage in the Southeastern Conference. As you said, really made a name for himself last summer in the Cape Cod League and has kept it going here where he's turned himself into the most feared hitter in America.
6'3", 205 junior. That one's a little bit high. Panama City Beach, Florida. Talking about arguably the best baseball conference in the country, and when you lead it in every offensive significant category, you're going to bring a lot of scouts to the ballpark as well, and he has done that tonight. We got a handful down the left field and right field lines.
And these two programs, obviously, there's a lot more than just a guy or two, but as we get closer to the draft, you'll start seeing some of the decision makers come into town because decisions are being made here in the last month before the draft.
Perkins falls into a dangerous count with Blade, a 350 average. 465, 791 is the slash line. Just incredibly impressive numbers for the right fielder. Got a pitch to hit, and he popped it up, and look at the power that he has all the way to the track, into the corner, and now into foul territory. Nice running catch by Drew Campbell. Does give you a little peek into Blade's power. I don't think it looked like it jammed him, and that thing was 325 feet.
It did. It jammed him a touch, and you can tell he hit the bottom of it, and this thing almost gets out of the yard. And Patterson Stadium can play hot this time of year. The ball can really jump, but I'm with you. I thought he completely missed that ball and still almost got it out of here.
And that brings up Ethan Paul. He's the shortstop, 339, 5'10", 185-pound senior. Perkins throws that at 93. So when you say this is a kid that projects, what should we look for at home that makes you say projectable, meaning he's not just your average run-of-the-mill or even slightly above average?
Well, the first thing you're looking for is the talent. And we've seen the fastball already up to 93 miles an hour. And the slider was so good that Austin Martin, who's leading the league in hitting, looked baffled by it. So right out of the jump, you're seeing the talent. The second thing I think that you have to be excited about is the poise and the way he's come at two of the best hitters in America. So there's no fear in him. There's no back down. And then I think the third thing you're evaluating is the body. Is there a jump left to be made in it? Does he look like a type of guy that could be a horse for you at the next level? And you see a strong lower body, but maybe an upper body that can still fill in. And he's athletic. He can repeat his delivery, and the stuff is plenty good.
Pours a 3-0 pitch in there for a strike to make it 3-1 to Paul, who's been very steady as a shortstop. The left side of this infield with Martin at third and Paul at short, as good as there is. Called strike two, looking for a walk, and not so fast for Ethan Paul.
Maybe a little home cooking right here. Fastball at the top of the zone. If you're a Cardinal fan, you thought it was a strike. Ethan Paul certainly disagreed.
On the ground, and a nice hop for Fitzgerald. In the ground, he threw it, and unable to come up with it is Logan Wyatt, and that's a mistake, as Fitzgerald had some time there to get Paul, so an error on the shortstop.
And Fitzgerald has been fantastic this season. Very steady defensively, and just looked like he didn't throw it. And every once in a while you get that routiner and you smooth it over there and just don't quite give it enough gas. A very uncharacteristic error from a young man who only has 6 coming into this game.
No, and for an offense that feasts on those types of miscues, you get your cleanup hitter, the designated hitter, Philip Clark, the 5'11", 190-pound sophomore, as he throws over to first. Out of Franklin, Tennessee. It's an offense that has scored 405 runs just by comparison. It's about 25 more than Louisville. 66 home runs for Vanderbilt, 37 for Louisville.
And this is one of those situations where you never want to make an error, you never want to give up a free runner, but kind of these high-stress situations early in the ball game when you open up the right side of the infield for an elite hitter and you put your freshman right-hander out of the stretch.
A couple of throws over. Paul's got 6 stolen bases, and that one sails high. So his miss, for the most part, has been up and out of the strike zone high.
Looks like that breaking ball that he's trying to just dump in there. He's not throwing with much conviction. Again, the tough part of this Vandy order is you've already gotten out the 2 toughest hitters in their lineup, and it just doesn't stop on you. So many places in this lineup that you can get hurt.
Last 2 outings for Perkins have been his only 2 starts. He went 3 innings against Cincinnati, 3 against Western Kentucky. And this one is hit into the gap in left center. Over there goes Snyder and Dunn. And it is caught by the center fielder, Lucas Dunn. Perkins works around an error and doesn't give up anything. And here comes Louisville. Back with Chris Burke, Carl Ravitch. Gorgeous day and night here in Louisville. We got some ice cream working. We got a baby in the background with a bottle going. Young and old, and what a facility here. Patterson Stadium. Of course, Louisville has enjoyed a home field advantage. A 4-time College World Series participant from 7, 13, 14, and 17. Vanderbilt trying to go back there. Mason Hickman, the sophomore, is on the mound. His numbers are terrific. He is a strike thrower, right, Bertie?
He is, yeah. This is an elite command pitcher. He will throw the fastball into all 4 quadrants of the strike zone, and it is a real breaking ball. You'll see a true kind of old-school 12-6 breaking ball that he can dump in there for a strike or get you to chase. So Mason Hickman, not your typical Tuesday guy, because this is a polished starting pitcher.
Lucas Dunn, Jake Snyder, Tyler Fitzgerald. They'll hit 1, 2, and 3 in this lineup. You talked about Wyatt. Alex Pinellas is a freshman. He has been a terrific story for Coach Dan McDonnell this season.
I think he's got a real chance to be the ACC Freshman of the Year, and potentially maybe the National Freshman of the Year, or certainly in that conversation. He's played that well here lately.
And again, only a freshman. One thing you talked to Coach Tim Corbin about, what makes this Vanderbilt team special. He's got a lot of experience on this team, and Louisville as well. They got knocked around a little bit last year, relatively speaking. They both have had terrific bounce-back seasons. And the first pitch from Mason Hickman. A little high to Lucas Dunn, the center fielder. He is a sophomore, 6 foot, 195-pounder out of Panama City Beach, Florida. Sports admin, his major. That one down 2-0.
And a rarity in this Louisville lineup. They rarely go south of Kentucky for players. And this is one of the few Louisville players on their roster that's from a southern state.
Up the middle, tough play over there for Ray, but he makes it. Harrison Ray ranging to his right, and Dunn is retired. So Louisville hits his 39-9, 18-6 in the ACC, and they have won 9 games in a row. We showed you their statistic at the top. Only Michigan and Vanderbilt have longer winning streaks, currently at 11. Top record in the ACC, and that bottom line is an important one. Projected number 5 overall seed in the NCAA tournament. College baseball fans know if you can be a top 8, you can host a super regional, providing you can get through the regional.
And this game will help them. You know, their resume, ACC champ, you normally consider to be probably higher than a 5 overall seed, especially with how gaudy their win-and-loss record is. You know, if they win this game tonight, that would be 5-0 versus the SEC. They beat Ole Miss twice. They beat Kentucky twice. If they were able to win this game, a 5-0 record against the Southeastern Conference would be pretty loud, especially considering, you know, Vandy and Ole Miss are 2 teams that are going to host.
Yeah, West Coast has been pretty powerful, at least at the top with UCLA. Oregon State suffered a couple of losses over the weekend. Stanford's been very good, and of course the SEC. That one has got backspin on it. It goes into the glove of Ethan Paul. Snyder didn't hit that on the nose, and it's 2 up and 2 down.
And Mason Hickman, just the ability to work into that glove side of the strike zone into Snyder, tries to stay inside of it, but perfectly played from a positioning standpoint by Ethan Paul.
Next up, Tyler Fitzgerald, the shortstop, 342. 6 homers, 56 RBI, the junior out of Rochester, Illinois. There's that breaking ball, just misses.
Up 2. Up 2.
Fitzgerald has had a breakout junior season. Freshman year, played third base, kind of a defensive guy. Didn't hit much, but came on at the end of last season and has really made a name for himself this year with the bat. We all know about the glove.
Austin Martin makes that look easy, and 2 ground balls and a line out. Mason Hickman gets through the first inning. 1 in the books, nothing across for either team.
College baseball is brought to you by Capital One. What's in your wallet?
Carl Ravitch, Chris Burke back here, ACC on ESPN. And two top 5 teams in the country squaring off, Louisville and Vanderbilt. They call this the Battle of the Barrel. You, of course, with the history of both those states and the whiskey and the bourbon, you understand what that's all about. Actually started with the University of Tennessee and University of Kentucky, or at least a derivation as a result of that. Brings up Pat DeMarco, the sophomore out of Staten Island, had a home run Sunday against South Carolina. And he's been hot lately, like the team. Breaking ball, misses again high. Got a hit in 16 of his last 19, 14 hits, 13 RBIs over his last 9 games, Berkey.
Yeah, been really, really good since he came back. He hit a 3-run homer against Alabama in his first at-bat back off the DL, the college DL. But the thing about DeMarco, I think even more so than the actual numbers, is this is one of their guys. You know, high school football guy, plays with an attitude and a swagger that I think adds to their group dynamic. And, you know, this is a guy that started the year right in the mix at the top of the order. And so to get him back, almost like a trade acquisition down the stretch here for him.
Little deadline deal?
Yeah. A waiver wire deal for the Commodores.
1-2, and he fouls that off. Well, I mean, Staten Island, that's just sort of a Corbin kind of guy.
Yeah.
Football, if not football, we got to have hockey in the background.
Yes.
Staten Island, of course, they were one of the Little League World Series teams this past summer. Look forward to both the College and Little League World Series coming up on ESPN later this summer.
This ballpark's got a little something everything, doesn't it? You got planes, you got trains.
Yeah, you do, and you have automobiles.
You got some horses out there.
Planes, trains, automobiles, and horses.
It really is one of the neat environments. I mean, you get the football field over here and the airport just next to us and the train running through. It's
DeMarco's got to be comfortable because I'm sure he's attended several games at Citi Field. So he's used to seeing planes flying in, and they buzzed the tower here.
Yes.
That one's in between the shortstop and third baseman, and Pat DeMarco continues his hot hitting. Leadoff man aboard for Vanderbilt. So let's take a look at Tim Corbin and his Commodores and how they've got to where they are at 38-9 and at 18-6 in the SEC, with a series against Missouri coming up in pretty good position to win their division.
Yeah, I think they're set up to win the regular season championship. And, you know, before the season started in the SEC, I thought it would be a struggle for anybody to get more than 20 wins. And they look like a sure bet to break that plateau. Just been red hot here lately.
Stephen Scott with a man on, senior, Cary, North Carolina. And left field, and going back is Snyder, and he stops just shy of the track, and he's there for the out. An aggressive approach from Vanderbilt tonight.
Oh, they're going to swing it. And the beautiful thing about this lineup is it's a controlled aggression. They're not just a bunch of guys up there kind of aimlessly hacking at pitches all over the zone. There's a lot of experience, a lot of at-bats in this lineup, and it plays out through the course of the game. They know how to work an at-bat and take advantage of pitches left out over the plate.
Here's Harrison Ray, kind of one of those guys that started as a freshman in 2017 and played 32 games, 42 last year, 42 this year. The batting average has steadily climbed for him. He's not a power hitter.
And Ray, like Martin, another guy that played a lot of time in the outfield prior to this year. I think it speaks highly of the player development system here at Vanderbilt that you got him and Austin Martin, both guys that played mostly outfield prior to this season, playing, and they're fielding at a 980 clip.
Right. Right about where they were last year. Runner goes, and the throw down to second, not even close. DeMarco in there with a stolen base.
And this is what Pat DeMarco can do. Now fully healthy, legs feeling good, and gets a great jump. Little bunt to keep the catcher back. Pinkham, tough pitch to throw on, and DeMarco in easily. And now the first runner in scoring position of this ball game.
Mentioned Ray last year. He played center field 5 times, left field twice, right field twice. He played third base 13 times, and he has settled into that second base position this season. Chance for an early run for Vanderbilt. As you'd expect with both of these wins and losses, the staff ERAs are very good. They lead the ACC in team ERA at 3.29. They got a whip of 114. They have thrown 6 shutouts. I don't sense we're going to have a shutout tonight.
I would agree with that. I think that's pretty bold prediction on your part.
Went out on a limb.
You know, Roger Williams, the pitching coach here for Dan McDonnell, is well known around the country as one of the best in the industry, and it's year in and year out, regardless of the roster, young, old, high-end talent or not, they get it done at a high level, and you see basically dominating the ACC in every meaningful pitching statistic and up there in the national ranks as well, in a conference that has some really good offenses.
There's a good block by Zeke Pinkham behind home plate. Good pitch, good breaking pitch in there for a strike to even it up at 2-2.
I think if you're a Vanderbilt hitter, you know what he wants to give you. The question is, can you recognize and can you get to it? And that's one of those sliders that just had a perfect trajectory to it. Ray never saw it, missed it by a foot. I got to believe he's going to get another one right here.
A lot of space in right center field. Good pitch and a strikeout. First one of the night for Jack Perkins. That looks like the put-away pitch.
Yeah. And Ray struggles with the breaking ball. This is 2 in a row. You can tell he just did not see one of the areas that he can struggle with is that right-handed slider, and that is a back-to-back nasty breaking balls as Jack Perkins tries to pitch around the single to Pat DeMarco.
And that brings up Ty Duvall. He's the catcher hitting 271. Junior out of Lebanon, Ohio. Yeah, so, I mean, you do have the planes, but that's the longest, train I've seen in a long time. And if you're up there at the plate, and I get the black and the batter's eyes out there, but
it's a little disconcerting.
There's a train moving out there,
yeah.
And it's 6 miles long.
Yeah, I think we finally see the end.
We see the end. Just in time for the home team to come to the plate.
Interesting. Yeah, how about a little changeup?
That was
there?
an 84-mile-an-hour changeup.
Just to let you know he can. And again, back to your earlier question is, how do we know what's a real prospect and what isn't? How about the ability to pull the string on a changeup to the left-handed hitters? That's always a really good sign.
He does require your catcher to be good at blocking balls in the dirt, because that breaking ball has some bite to it.
Yes, Pinkham has been challenged here early in this game. And, you look at the outings from Perkins, and his last couple starts, just 3 innings. So he can almost kind of pitch as a reliever here, where you got first base open, you got a right-handed hitter on deck. We know the slider is really good. I don't think he needs to give in here. Because, again, they're not asking. This isn't game 1 of a super regional, right? They're not asking him to get him into the 7th or anything like that. There's plenty of arms in that Louisville bullpen that can extend this game in the middle innings.
Hard on the ground to second base. Justin Levy makes it look easy. Side retired, runner stranded at second. We'll dive a little deeper into having these pitching coaches be so successful in college and move to the majors when we come back. Mariners and Yankees, 6:30 Eastern Time, a little earlier than the usual start time tomorrow on ESPN. That's also available on the ESPN app. You say Kikuchi with his 1-1, 398 mark will take on Jonathan Loaisaga, third start of the season for him. Sunday, it is the Brewers and the Cubs. We'll start it with baseball tonight. Sunday night countdown, 6 Eastern Time. That's also available on the ESPN app. The veteran John Lester expected to be on the mound for the Chicago Cubs, who are battling the Brewers and the St. Louis Cardinals in the Central. The shift on, and that's something we can talk about. College, too, using analytics and the shift as the ground ball was hit literally directly at Ethan Paul, who is playing the right side of second base.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about, that's twice we've seen now. Once on Jake Snyder and once now on Logan Wyatt, where Ethan Paul, you see him there to the right side of second base. That's your shortstop, folks. Played perfectly on what would always have been a line drive base hit up the middle. Just turns into a routine ground out.
Here's Alex Benellis. He's only a freshman. Fastball in there at 87 miles an hour, but everything about him says, upperclassman. Just his appearance, but also, according to the head coach, his presence. He's behind 0-2.
Just a mature kid.
Yeah.
The way he goes about his business, the way he handles the ups and downs, and then, of course, his play on the field has been like someone with a bunch of experience, not somebody just trying to figure out Division I ACC baseball for the first time around.
Right. 9 homers, 39 RBI.
Talk to Coach McDonald. There's a lot of meaningful runs driven in that 39 runs. I mean, he hits a home run against Clemson, or they're probably going to get swept. And there has been, it's a home run Friday against Notre Dame. I mean, there have been a bunch of big moments throughout this season for Benellis. And this is kind of what you were alluding to here, Carl. 0-2 to 3-2.
Yep.
Just not a lot of rush, not a lot of panic.
And a little difference between maybe Hickman and Perkins is that ability to strike a guy out with that pitch. Whatever that pitch may be. There's a good one. How about that breaking ball? It froze Benellis.
And that's the first good look we've seen at it. We talked about it in the open, Carl, the true 12-6 curveball. And with the shadows bearing down this time of night, that just locks him up. I mean, that is a lock-up breaking ball right there, and the best one of the ball game we've seen so far from Mason Hickman.
Sure was. Back to a conventional defensive alignment with the righty Danny Oriente, the junior, out of Downers Grove, Illinois, at 6 foot, 190 pounds. That ground ball that Wyatt hit right at Paul was sort of confirmation of some of the things that a lot of times the players, when they're handed the information, you need validation.
Yeah.
You need that. And there's a great example, because I know that's a problem sometimes between pitchers who don't want their infielders to be moving. And it drives them crazy when that ball drops or it goes through a hole that was vacated by the shift. Ray, meet Blade. They come together. But a 1-2-3 inning, and he's retired the first 6 that he has faced. We are through 2. Of course, here we got the SEC with Vanderbilt and the ACC with Louisville. The ACC baseball headlines: Mark Teixeira's Georgia Tech Ramblin' Wreck. 2 teams in the USA Today coaches poll top 10. Georgia Tech at 8, Louisville at 5. They get 6 in the top 25. 6 have clinched ACC championship bids. You see the teams there. And the ACC tournament starts Tuesday, May 21st. You can see all the games on the ACC Network Extra. And, of course, the championship game. Good start for Perkins, who throws his 32nd pitch in there for a strike. 33rd, I should say. He'll deal with 9-1-2. I think, Berkey, when you think about these 2 teams, though, the remarkable consistency. You know, UCLA was winning championships years ago, and then they kind of disappeared.
Yeah.
Now they're back into that national conversation as the #1 team for I don't know what it's been, 5 straight weeks they've been at the top of all the polls. But these 2, you generally can count on each year in the SEC and ACC. And even if they're not winning it or not going into a super regional, they're just not a team you want to face.
No, there's so much talent, even if this season is maybe not elite by their standards. But you think about it, Vanderbilt, 13 straight regional appearances. Dan McDonald been here 13 years, has only missed it once. So 12 of 13 for Dan McDonald. And again, Vandy, 3 trips to the College World Series. Louisville, 4. As you said, it's the consistency of excellence that makes these 2 of the best programs in America.
2-2, foul back.
I mean, we've seen, look, Virginia,
yes,
back-to-back championship games. They've missed it. They're about to miss the tournament for the second straight year. Miami had a falling off. Texas has had their struggles. TCU's got a chance to where they're going to miss it after 4 straight trips to Omaha. They might miss it 2 years in a row.
Carolina was a perennial Omaha team.
It's not as easy as these 2 groups have made it look.
Filthy, and a strikeout, the second of the night for Jack Perkins. Well, Dan McDonald, you mentioned he kind of recruits for the most part, this particular area. You see some of his numbers there, and I know this year, you and I talked about this earlier, he's going to coach the USA Baseball National Team, which is obviously a big honor for him.
I think there's a chance this man right here is going to be hitting leadoff for that team. He's getting his first real good look at Austin Martin this year, live and in person.
A lot of people flashing back that say Jack Perkins just hit the bull. He just hit the bull.
He let a loose one go there. Never the worst thing to do in the shadows. You might make some hitters a little uncomfortable. The shadows are already a little rough, and you throw one to the backstop.
Now you go slider in the dirt with no chance.
Perfect. There you go. And that'll let you know some of the adjustments that Austin Martin's able to make. We saw the ugly swing in his first at bat at a breaking ball, but right there in a 1-0 count, you can tell he's seeing the spin on that one. Hey now.
Looks down at his fingers. So we're 3-0, and we've hit the bull in the backside and now the leg.
Well, I tell you what, one okay, but you do it twice in an at bat, and now you start to worry about his feel for the baseball at this point in time. There you go. Be careful right here. Throw that pitch again. That one's going to get barreled up.
High, a walk to Austin Martin, and that means now you got a little base running threat. 9 stolen bases, and you're bringing up J.J. Bleday, who set the single season home run mark for Vanderbilt, passing Pedro Alvarez. This was the record breaker for him.
And this was not a cheapie. This is a bomb way out of Founders Park in Columbia, South Carolina. And what a record. When you think about a different bat, too. I mean, this is a totally different bat that Pedro Alvarez played with.
Yes. Alvarez set it in 2006. And again, last year, Bleday, that's what makes it a little odd, is he only hit 4 homers. He did miss a handful of games with a oblique injury, but if you play the handful of games, you're going to have, 8, 9 homers, not 23.
I think it was maybe closer to a month, but I don't think anybody saw this number. I mean, leading the country. And Vanderbilt's similar to this park. It's fair in dimensions, and when it's cold, it can play big. When it's warm, it can be a little jumpy. But there's a reason why the career mark was in the low 20s with all the great players they've run through there. It's not a great place to hit home runs, but he has made it look small this year.
That one is into right field. Good base running by Martin. He hits second, now slides head first into third, and Vandy's got him on the corners as Bleday picks up his first hit of the night.
And the beautiful thing about the Vanderbilt lineup is you got somebody in front of a left-handed pull hitter that has over a 500 OBP. So that hole is constantly open. And on a ball that, let's be honest, is not hit very hard, Carl, squeaks through for a base hit. And it's because Austin Martin's on first base.
Be interesting if Leavy could have been able to keep that in the infield. Keeps Martin at second.
Yeah.
You got a force. Right,
Yeah.
just knock that down if you can.
Just kind of short-armed the catch. I think he thought he still had a play at first.
So they stranded a runner at second last inning. They got one at first and second for Ethan Paul. Good slider to start him out with.
Let's go, be tough, kid.
You almost surprised Louisville didn't do the extreme shift even with the runner on first there.
Paul reached on an error his first time up. Big block there by Pinkham with a runner at third. Paul is a senior, and he is hitting .413 with runners on base and .425 with runners in scoring position.
Yeah, it's been an impressive RBI season to say the least. And again, one of the reasons why this is one of your favorites to win the whole thing is because you can't just pitch around J.J. Bleudet. There is quality hitter after quality hitter. I'm talking about a senior hit that has seen everything college baseball has to offer, hitting behind J.J. Bleudet, and it makes it very difficult on a pitching staff.
Bleudet goes back up the middle. Thrown out. Nice job by Fitzgerald. He was searching for second base. He couldn't get it. And then he ended up throwing to first. The run comes in, but that did save a first and third situation by cutting it off.
And I think the runner going cost him a hit, right? Tyler Fitzgerald
Probably right.
would not have been there had Bleudet not gone. And Ethan Paul, do not dive at first base, buddy. What are we doing here? Great play by Tyler Fitzgerald. I'm with you. I love that fact that he tried to reach for I think he was trying for the tag with Bleudet. But, man, I hate to see runners dive head first into first base. You were just asking for an injury. Heck of a play by Tyler Fitzgerald.
It was, because you're scoring a run. You're going to have men on the corners. You're going to have only one out. Now Philip Clark flied out to center field his first time up. And that one is going to get down in front of the center fielder, Dylan Bleudet, coming home. He'll score an RBI for Philip Clark, his 53rd of the season.
I mean, they just keep coming at you. 53 RBIs for Philip Clark. Gets a hanging breaking ball up in the zone, ready and are on time. You love to see it in a run-scoring situation where a RBI guy is ready for a first pitch breaking ball. And Vandy tacks on another one here.
See the challenge that all pitchers have faced and will face moving forward against this Vanderbilt lineup. Struck out Infante and then a walk, a single, the fielder's choice, and a hard hit ball by Paul. And now a single and an RBI for Clark.
I go back to that Bleudet ball. You just wonder with a left-handed hitter up like that, it'd be hard to give him that whole hole.
I agree with you that Leavy, I think, thought that he was, at the very least, going to stop the ball from going to right field.
Yeah, he was definitely still trying to get an out. And
right. Yeah, I was wondering how long you thought Perkins was going to stay in that game, given his prior two starts were both 3 innings, and
yes.
Here we are.
Here we are.
Adam Elliott over out. That one is ripped into the corner, and it's getting to the wall. Let's see what Clark does. He hits third. Corbin's waving him in. Here's the throw home in plenty of time, and he's out. And Corbin took a risk. That thing was coming in when the runner hit third, Clark, and he was thrown out by about 5 feet. But you put pressure on the defense, and the defense made the play. Vanderbilt 2, Louisville nothing, 2.5 in. Now there was some barrel in that inning, and the battle of the barrel. Vanderbilt bat showed up there. Blade with a single, Clark with a single and an RBI, and then Patrick Marco hit one really hard into the corner, but a 7-6-2 out at home.
Good fundamentals right here, Ravi. Jake Snyder gets to the corner, does a fantastic job of gathering the ball and throwing a strike to Fitzgerald. Fitzgerald gets his shoulders turned before he catches the ball, and then Zeke Pinkham with a beautiful pit and tag to finish that play off, or Vanderbilt would have stole another run in that inning. And if you're Dan McDonald, you got to be fired up about getting off the field with only 2 right there, because that had a real big number written all over it.
7-8-9 now up for Louisville. You agree with sending him there?
Yeah.
I mean, you really have to make a perfect play, and that throw was short. So Pinkham makes a real good play, and you get the out.
Yeah, I mean, you think about it. You're making 2 throws from 330 feet, right? So you get 2 throws covering 330 feet. You got to make. I don't care how great these kids are. You got to make them do that accurately, and it took all of that and a pick at the end to get them out.
Harrison Ray with a nice play as he shows range to his left, and he retires Drew Campbell. 7 up, 7 down for Mason Hickman. Here comes the second baseman, Justin Levy. Sophomore out of Kenosha, Wisconsin, 6'1", 205. Vanderbilt flashing a little leather tonight.
Yeah, it's interesting. You know, when Tim Corbin talks about this defense, he doesn't rank it amongst his most dynamic groups from a standpoint of high-end plays, but they have been awfully consistent. And I think, you know, we talked about Harrison Ray hadn't played a ton of second base for them before this year. He looks to be getting more comfortable. Of course, Ethan Paul has been fantastic holding down the shortstop position.
Ooh, good pitch. Paul was the guy that was at second base.
Yeah, last year, right? And then Austin Martin, who we talked about before the game with Coach Corbin, just how much more comfortable he is throwing the ball with conviction. So I think it's a defense that is improving, even though their fielding percentage has been gaudy all year long.
Good pitch at the knees, and Mason Hickman mowing him down. That's 8 up and 8 down. Second strikeout of the night.
So we saw the nasty breaking ball in the pitch before. This is what we talked about with that fastball command. I mean, that is dotted down and in. And I can see why Justin Levy thought that one was a little low, but just a beautifully executed pitch by Mason Hickman.
Here's Zeke Pinkham. And a little blooper into left. It gets down. First hit of the night for Louisville, and Pinkham into second base. Aggressive base running, and perhaps a little lucky there as the ball beat him to the bag, but Ray couldn't come up with it.
Well, similar to what we saw Vanderbilt do is, you know, you have to make fielders throw accurately from long distances, and Zeke Pinkham, certainly not the fastest player on the Louisville team, puts pressure on Steven Scott, the former catcher, to throw a strike, and he makes a fairly accurate throw, but Harrison Ray unable to dig it out, and Louisville's got a run-scoring chance here with 2 outs in the third.
Top of the order, Dunn. Lucas Dunn grounded out to the second baseman his first time up. Tough sun for the right side of that defense for Vanderbilt. You can see it there. Julian Infante at first base, adjusting his glasses, his vision. That one in the dirt. We're going to hear from Dan McDonald next half inning. What do you want to hear from the coach? A review of Perkins.
Yeah.
Talk about the Vanderbilt offense a little bit, how you contain it when it's so deep.
I was gonna say something about with Vanderbilt, maybe even USA and some of these guys that he's looking across the field from, and maybe getting a chance to manage them this summer. But I'll tell you what, I just thought it was interesting, and we might get into this with him, is just how he felt like going down to Lubbock last year and getting beat up in the Texas Tech Regional was good for this team.
Yeah.
You never want to, obviously you never want to lose in the postseason, but walking off that field, he harkened back to their 2012 regional defeat at the hands of Arizona and how that kind of spurred their next big run in their program. Maybe last year's regional will do the same.
2-1. Middle. See if Pinkham is waved in. He is. Here's your throw home. It's up the line. Louisville's on the board, and good hustle into second base for Lucas Dunn.
And there is people around this program that will tell you that when Lucas Dunn came back after a broken finger, that he's a big reason this offense has made a jump in the last month or so. Just a rocket right back up the middle on a fastball from Hickman. Pinkham is rewarded for playing aggressively. DeMarco misses the cutoff man. Lucas Dunn runs aggressively to second base. Cards got a chance to tie it up.
They do with Jake Snyder, the left fielder, lined out to the shortstop his first time up. Just kind of keep an eye. You're not going to steal third unless you're sure of it, but you get some good speed out there at second base. That one off. And all of a sudden, you can see the body language of Mason Hickman.
Yeah.
He was looking for a strike on that pitch.
We hadn't seen that all game, and I didn't necessarily think that was a missed call.
One of the great parts of being a coach and a pitching coach, how your players, especially your freshmen, deal with what in their world is adversity, which right now is little adversity. He's behind 2-0, gave up a hit, a couple in a row.
Yeah, body language doesn't look great, and you'd think Hickman, he's been through some battles, pitched on the weekend some last year, has been one of their dudes. You would expect him to not get flustered by one call that he perceived to be incorrect.
2-1. The aggressive base running of Zeke Pinkham, who was nearly thrown out, but ended up at second, scores on that RBI from Dunn. And now the junior out of Champaign, Illinois, will try to tie this. There's that just freezing you breaking ball. We've seen that reaction from a couple of Cardinals hitters.
And Snyder takes the 2-0 heater, and then you get the big bender, and now you're fighting for your life in a 2-2 count. See if he goes back to it right here. You gotta think he'll take one chance, maybe at a front hip fastball or that big breaking ball again here on 2 strikes. Looks like he's going in. And I like the call. Slow him down with the big breaking ball and then try to freeze him on the heater in.
On the ground is short. Long throw. High. Good speed down the line from Snyder. He was going to be safe if that was an accurate throw. And now Cardinals have him at first and third.
I agree he would have been safe based on the way Paul fields his ball. Watch how many shuffles. 1, 2, 3. And with a left-handed hitting Snyder that can really run, you just don't have that kind of time. That's one of those where you got to post up on your right foot and let it rip, especially on this turf where you can bounce it. One too many shuffles cost Ethan Paul right there, and now Mason Hickman got his hands full here with 3 and 4 hitters of the Cardinals. As tough a chance as you will have as a shortstop right there. The bounder to your backhand with a plus runner, a plus left-handed runner getting down the line.
Yep. Here's Tyler Fitzgerald, 2 on in a 2-1 game in the bottom of the third. Strike 1. Fitzgerald, 67 hits, leads the team by plenty, 18 more hits than the next best. Runner goes in there for a strike.
Oh.
With the old throw it to the pitcher, make it appear as if you're throwing it down. 10th stolen base of the season for Jake Snyder, and now a couple of stakes out there.
Yeah, and I don't know if that was the called play or not, but that was a good job by Ty Duvall not throwing that ball, because he certainly came out of his crouch like he was going to throw that ball to second base. Nobody was there, or they were there awfully late, so he decelerated that ball to Hickman. Always nice to have a 6-6 target to throw it to.
Or intercepted.
Yeah.
0-2, got to be careful of bouncing one in the dirt here. Hickman with Duvall back there, and the runner done at third. 87 miles an hour. It looked like it was 100. He's gone. They'll strand two in scoring position. They pick up one. And Lucas Dunn right back up the middle. That got the Cardinals on the board. And likely put their coach in a better mood. We'll talk with him when we come back. 2-1 ball game back here at Louisville. Vanderbilt on top of the fourth inning. Carl Ravitch, Chris Burke, and happy to be joined by Dan McDonald. All right, Coach, so I just love to kind of get in the mind of a coach. What are your observations here? What has got you thinking right now?
Well, good offenses produce with runners on base.
Yeah.
You know, I think you look at both pitchers. You know, it's easy to pitch when there's nobody on base, but, you know, we unfortunately walked the guy, and then they took advantage of a guy on first and rolled it through the hole. And then with our pressure, you know, you get guys on base and you got to worry about our speed. I mean, that's why we're both probably really good teams is, you know, it's a different ball game when you got to pitch out of the stretch against both of us.
Coach, you know, this game has grown into one of the best non-conference rivalries in college baseball, but you kind of approach it differently, right? Later in the year as you're down the stretch run. How do you view this game internally matched up against such a good program as Vanderbilt?
I think it's great practice for our kids. I said in the outfield, you know, I love playing great teams late because it has a postseason feel to it. So I think anytime you can get a dress rehearsal, you take advantage of that. And then it gives me a chance to say what I always say in the postseason, and I get it from my Citadel days. You got to throw strikes, you got to make routine plays, and you got to get timely hits. I mean, that's you try to simplify it, and let's not get all geeked up because of the name on their jersey. And all our kids know their kids, and they all played with each other, against each other in the Cape Cod League. Let's focus on the game of baseball and doing those three things.
You know, we talked about the shift that Vanderbilt showed, and it worked for them. You do things that we don't see in practice. That play by Pinkham there to scoop that ball on that relay was a big play.
Yeah, we call play situations. We only get 2 days to practice a week, typically Monday and Thursday. And as a coach this time of the year, you don't want to be out there for 2.5, 3 hours. So you're trying to be smart. You're trying to keep guys fresh. But we call that play situations, and we hit balls into the corner and into the gaps and just work our tandem relay and allow catchers. How often do catchers get to practice that?
Yep.
You know, so when it works, you feel really good as a coach that you did. I promise you this, we'll be doing play sits for the rest of the season.
I like it. We got the validation you needed. Thanks, Coach, for being with us. Appreciate it.
All right, thanks, guys.
How about that? Adam Elliott comes into the game and looks good. 5 pitches. He records his first out and a strikeout of Steven Scott. Louisville native, sports administration major, a 6'1", 190-pound junior.
St. Xavier High School, place that both of us were fortunate enough to wear the jersey of. St. Xavier Tiger alumni Adam Elliott, having a heck of a year, has really done a fantastic job in his career here at the University of Louisville and has been a reliable bullpen arm for them.
He's going to be challenged here. He flips underhand, and he does the job. He picks off Harris and Ray.
Elliott was a two-way kid in high school and actually flirted with it a little bit in his time here in Louisville. Can really run, very athletic. Watch him hop off the mound here and kind of that awkward backhand to an underhand flip. That was not an easy play, but showing you that he is more than just a pitcher with a really nice play right there to get the speedy Ray.
17th appearance of the season for Elliott. He comes in with a 2.89 ERA. Last pitch this past weekend against Notre Dame went 1 2/3, gave up 2 hits, no runs. He struck out 1 and he walked 1.
And the velo has made a jump this year. He showed up to campus kind of in the mid-80s, and you're seeing a 90-91 here in this ball game. Going back to what Coach Mack said about short, crisp practices this time of year. I know as a position player, I would rather do that. Play situations where it's kind of a random, more of a game-like feel than some of the monotonous bunt coverages or first and third defenses. And, it's no accident both of these teams win so much. Not only do they have really good players, but they know how to utilize their practice time and make sure that not only are they working on the right things, but also not on the field too much, especially this time of year.
It's also important for both these coaches, and we saw it with Tim Corbin and we saw it with Coach Mack before the game, to make sure everybody is involved. We saw Tim Corbin down the line throwing at 2 guys, sort of some short hop practice, who are not likely to get in the game the rest of the year, and yet he's out there working with them, paying attention to them, letting them know they are important.
Player development never stops. And you only have a handful of coaches.
Just misses.
And the head coach has to take an active role in that if you're really going to get the most out of your roster. We saw Corbin doing that as Adam Elliott just misses outside with that fastball.
(3-2). Popped up, center fielder Lucas Dunn. And the shadows is there for the out. Nice job by Adam Elliott. Good pitching by him. And we'll talk with another very good pitcher. We'll talk with Patrick Raby, one of the superstar studs for the Vanderbilt Commodores, when we come back. Hey, this past Sunday, Patrick Raby picked up his 30th career win, becoming Vandy's all-time career wins leader. That was a record formerly held by Jeff Peoples. He set it from 70 to 73. So we're taking down not records that have stood for like 1 year or 2 years. That's a 46-year-old record.
It's a big one.
And there's our guy, Patrick Raby, who joins us now. Carl Ravitch, Chris Burke up here in the booth. All right, Patrick, so last night I was doing the Cardinals-Phillies game, and we interviewed Jake Arrieta during the game. And Arrieta cuts a pretty good figure. He'll give you some bicep work during his throwing drills. I'm curious. He also gave us his diet and stuff. So let's go into the Raby, kind of diet exercise regimen. What do you got?
Man, you guys are going to make me say that right here next to Corbs.
Yeah,
let's go.
Let's dive into it. You're a 30-game winner.
Nothing too special, to be honest.
Tough play by your guy. Heck of a catch. So nothing special, just college diet.
Yeah, nothing too special. It depends on what we got going on campus most of the time. I'm a big chicken person.
As you say, what do you have a go-to?
A big chicken person. I'm a little kid at heart, so I guess I like mac and cheese a lot.
Yeah, who doesn't?
Let's go, yeah.
Yeah, so I'd have to say that's a favorite of mine.
All right, so you picked up the 30th career win. How aware were you of that? How significant is that to you?
I was aware of it. Kind of hard not to be with social media these days, but I mean, it was nice to do and nice to get it over with, and now it's in the past, but it's pretty special to me. I like to, because I've been asked about it a lot lately, I'd like to say that it's, a individual record, but, it's really a team record in the way that I look at it, because of the way that, my teammates have helped me over the years, and I wouldn't be able to win games like that if, they weren't there behind me.
Now, you started right out of the gate. I mean, you've been in the rotation essentially you're all 4 years, and that's one of the reasons why you stand today as a record holder. Congratulations on that. But let me ask you something. As you went through last year, I mean, I would imagine you would agree, you probably were anticipating last year being your last, but you decide to come back. You go through that whole process of pro ball, back to college. What did you feel like you had to prove or learn or improve on this year coming back from your senior year?
Yeah, last year was definitely a different year for me. You know, a lot of people, you know, at this level in college has never really experienced any type of adversity, and I'd say that was definitely my first. And the thing that I kind of felt like I needed to prove to myself was that, you know, I can do this. I know that I could, and I just needed to get back out there and get my confidence back up. And I think once I got to that point, I knew it wasn't going to go back down. So I wouldn't say I really had to prove anything to anybody else, but more to me than anyone.
Is there a picture you model yourself after, Patrick?
Not really. I think I've been asked that question before, and the more I kind of think about it, the more I can't think of anybody, I guess. Yeah, there's nobody that really stands out that I think I'm just alike as.
Well, you stand out. You picked up your 30th win, and you are the career leader at Vanderbilt. We appreciate you spending some time with us, buddy.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. Appreciate you.
And Patrick Raby came back this season. You saw the wins and losses he accomplished last year, 5-5 with Leary, almost kind of a run higher than what he's used to. And Drew Campbell steps in after a pop out, a 3 unassisted, and then a hit batter.
You see these seniors break these records, and it's an interesting deal because they're there because it maybe didn't quite go the way they wanted to in their junior year, but then they get the opportunity to be legendary and hold these esteemed records. Of course, Jake Mangum probably the best example of that, who just set the SEC record and will probably set that mark to a place where nobody will approach it. He's at 360 hits, broke the great Eddie Furness's record. And now Patrick Raby, the all-time winningest pitcher at Vanderbilt's a pretty nice stat to hang your hat on.
They've had a few come out of there.
Yeah.
But to your point, that one is through the hole. And after hitting a batter, Drew Campbell sends one to the left, and they get runners at first and second. There you go, David Price, and Sonny Gray, and Tyler Beatty now, and Buehler and others.
Yeah, it's been a laundry list of high-level pitching that has run through Vanderbilt. And, I think for Raby to be able to say he stands on, you saw Sonny Gray was just a few behind him at 27 wins. Now, did that in 3 seasons, but it's been an incredible run of high-end pitching talent in Tim Corbin's time here at Vanderbilt.
Justin Levy with 2 aboard. Cardinals threatening again. They scored 1 in the 3rd, left 2 men on. It does feel like they're recognizing the curveball a little bit more. The swings aren't as wild. I get that wasn't put in play, but they seem to be seeing it a little better.
The shadows are gone now. That has to help. And your second time through the order. So definitely have some things going in their favor that they didn't have about an hour or so ago.
It's an offense that can put a bunch of numbers up real quick. They went 5 straight games from late April through the last day of April, scoring 10 or more in 5 straight games. Mentioned Buehler. You got Walker Buehler and Dansby Swanson in a little Braves-Dodgers series right now going on. And they, of course, were roommates as freshmen at Vanderbilt. Did a little feature on them on the local telecast last night about how excited they were, or were they surprised? And they're like, no, this is what we always thought we would do, and we are doing it now, and they're doing it at a high level.
Yes, they are. 2 really talented young players. Buehler pitched number 3 on those Vanderbilt teams.
Yeah, he's now the staff ace.
Yes. I mean, that
on
is
a staff
real
with Clayton
stuff.
Kershaw on it. Rich Hill.
That's been in the World Series back-to-back years. Yeah, that's a talented young man.
And in Dansby's case, it was a bit of a bumpy road to start his major league career. But now all of a sudden, there's some justification in that #1 overall pick, showing it.
Well, look, Alex Bregman is that's not the normal career path that you just hop in the big leagues and go boom, 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 and you're all of a sudden an MVP candidate. Most people scuffle, and I think Dansby has learned a lot over the last few years, dealt with some injuries, but I think is now ready to take that next step. You get 1,000 ABs under your belt, and you can start to really figure out what you have in a player.
Pretty good core in Atlanta right now.
Yeah.
The Albies and Acuna and Swanson. You got Freddie Freeman, who's kind of an anchor there. Pitching is good. A lot of folks just wish they would make a move for either Kimbrel or Keuchel, who are both out there still.
What is up with that? Seriously, I mean, what are we doing here?
Keuchel came out today and just talked about it. And I'm sure that it's not lost on the college baseball player, the experiences that these major leaguers are having.
Yeah.
Whether they're holding out or some of the younger kids like Bregman are signing those big deals long before they're free agents. Yeah, in their case, they and their agents believe there's a fair market for them, and they don't believe that the teams are willing to go to what they are saying is their market value. Popped up, this one playable. Infante calls everybody off. It's going to drift close to fair territory, but he's there to make the play. So they strand a couple again. We are through 4. And it's 2-1 Vandy. Welcome back, everyone. As you see, in most ballparks now, you got to have things for the little kids to do.
Just makes sense.
It's just not enough to say we're going to watch a baseball game, which is completely understandable. So we got a kind of a little rock climbing wall there. And what a night to just be outside. That's the beautiful part of all that is activity. People are moving around out there.
We got some Vipers in the house.
Yeah, the older kids got their unis on. They're watching a pretty good game, 2-1. Vanderbilt bats top of the 5th inning. Adam Elliott looked outstanding in his first inning of relief, and he's back on the bump again.
Adam Elliott was a Viper.
Were you a Viper?
No, but my son is.
So what is that, a youth?
Youth travel ball organization.
YTBO?
Well done. Yes. Yeah, the Vipers right there. Jackson Burke plays on the 9U club.
Where is JB? Where is Jackson Burke tonight?
He's at practice. The Vipers had practice. The 9U club had practice tonight, so JB couldn't make it out. He was pretty bummed.
Is he pretty into his uniform?
I think he likes his swag, you know.
Catcher can't see it. Now
Elliott.
he does. And nobody gets it. That was ripe with disaster. And at one point, you almost thought Adam Elliott should just go get it.
He definitely should have got it, and I think Pinkham spooked him when he threw his mask because, again, this is a former high school center fielder, and Pinkham's laughing about it. I don't think Elliott thought it was all that funny, but Elliott has a beat on it right away. And right here, look, Elliott's maybe going to make a play. And watch, he has to jump over the mask.
Avoid the mask.
Yeah, and then he pulls up on a ball that I think 100% he had the best chance to make the play of anybody.
For people at home, on a play like that, how's that work? Everybody else up to the catcher? What's the message to the catcher?
Yeah, you start off with up in a point, and then as soon as you realize your guy doesn't have it, which you always prefer, anytime a player doesn't know where a ball is, you'd like him to be a little more demonstrative. Pinkham wasn't immediately letting you know that he didn't know where it was, but at that point, next closest man has got to try to make a play on the ball, and that was Elliott in that situation.
2-2 to Infante. Good pitch. Strikes him out. Adam Elliott has looked awfully impressive, facing 4 and getting them all.
He really has. I mean, the fastball command has been outstanding. And you can tell the fastball plays up. Like, it's getting on guys, and that is just a paint piece at the top of the zone on the inside corner, locking up Infante as this Vanderbilt lineup flips.
Austin Martin walked and scored in the 3rd. This is a guy that's likely headed to the pros. as long as he continues to develop. But boy, his numbers are outstanding. His intensity has been great. You go to Vanderbilt too. The expectations in the class are as high as they are on the field. And there was a period of time where Tim Corbin had to basically tell Austin Martin, you got to get it together in that classroom. And he sat him for a few games. And instead of avoiding the program, Austin sat with Tim Corbin's wife behind home plate, almost to say, I know that I'm not part of this, but you're not getting rid of me that easily. And it got to a point where Corbs had said, look, if this isn't for you and this is a little much, we'll find a place where you can go play. And he said, this is where I'm playing.
And he's responded quite well since then.
Yeah.
One of the things I love about watching Martin hit is he just does such a good job at getting ready. That smooth gather to get ready to hit. You watch him kind of, he's already in an athletic position, got great barrel rhythm. Watch him just gather into his backside as he is reading the pitch.
He ripped that one into right center, and it is deep. At the wall, goes off the wall. Martin into second, and he puts the brakes on there. Austin Martin with a double. And everything you talked about in that at-bat showed itself. Kind of uncoiled with his 15th double of the year.
Yeah, just watch him gather right here, recognize the pitch, and then get the barrel out in front. And this is a ball that's driven oppo, but you look at that contact point just inside the front foot and beautiful extension. And, Carl, this guy's stronger than people realize. I mean, that ball, that's out there in the 380, 385 range. A bullet off the right center field wall as he continues to be in the middle of everything this Vanderbilt offense does.
What a season for Austin Martin, and what a season for this guy, J.J. Blade, now up against the lefty. First hit, Elliott had given up. Depending on where you look and what service you subscribe to, Blade sends this one deep to left field. Going back is Schneider. He is at the track and throws it back in. Martin is tagging to third, and he is diving in head first safely. Blade will be anywhere in the top 10, but it looks like whether it's Keith Law or Aaron Fitt and the others at 7, 8, maybe the Tigers I've read.
Yeah, the top 10 feels like a certainty for Blade at this point, and kind of a down college pitching draft relative to past years. And so you're going to see some bats go early. Of course, Adley Rutschman, I think, is the slam dunk #1 pick. And then maybe Andrew Vaughn from Cal, the reigning Gold Spikes Award winner. So Rutschman, the catcher at Oregon State. Vaughn, the first baseman at Cal. And then, I think there's a pretty good chance we'll see Blade be the third college position player taken. Talk about the arms being a little down. The #1 pick from last year has certainly shown out so far. Casey Mize.
Yeah, he has.
He's done all right for himself.
No hitter the other day. His first start at Double-A.
Just been dominant.
Bryson Stott's name gets mentioned. Cameron Misner's young out of Texas Tech. George Kirby, who's at Elon. Dillard, maybe one of the top pitchers taken. Big at bat, given the way that the Commodores can pitch. Important to keep it 2-1, not let it get to 3-1. And Pinko's made a couple of good plays tonight defensively.
Not an easy chance right there.
Break pitch high, they throw down, and they almost got him. They had Martin leading, and the play was on with Benelis and Pinkham.
Well, I thought the throw beat him, Rav.
I did too. Maybe a swim move to avoid that?
Or was the tag between the hands? That's... I'm not sure what kind of look we had, but the throw beat him. Was the tag just a little tardy? Sometimes a fielder will put the glove between the hands of the runner. See if Pinellas gets him. Yeah, he's late.
Good call.
Yeah,
very
absolutely.
good call. You know, Pinellas fielded that a little behind third base.
Yeah, it looked like the throw beat him, but he wasn't to the front of the base yet, was he?
No. No, the glove wasn't in front of the base. He wasn't in front of the base.
Very tough play as a third baseman. You don't want to give it away too soon. It's tough to get there on time.
Big RBI guy, Ethan Paul. Not there. Good job by Adam Elliott to strand the runner at third after Martin had doubled. Adam Elliott gets through 2 innings. It doesn't give up anything. Crowd is into it tonight here in Louisville in a 2-1 game. National headlines across college baseball. The Bruins of UCLA have led a handful of West Coast teams to the top of the rankings. They are number 1 for the 8th straight week. The defending champs have been in the top 10 all year, but they are now outside the top 10. Oregon State got swept by Oklahoma State. I know you love the way the Red Raiders are playing, back into the top 10, leading the 4 Big 12 teams in the rankings, huh?
Yeah, Tim Tadlock's glove peaking at the right time. They moved Josh Young, the All-American third baseman, to shortstop. And the pitching has kind of streamlined itself, and it looks like the Red Raiders are going to make another legit run to Omaha. What a program Tim Tadlock has built in Lubbock, Texas. I mean, wow. 3 College World Series appearances in the last 5 years.
I think I'm struck every year we go there just how difficult it is to get there. And yet you do see some of the same teams year in and year out, which speaks to their ability to recruit, coach, develop. Because it's just not as easy as some of the teams. I mean, for you know, Florida, my goodness, and they're really off this year.
Yeah.
But you got so used to seeing
7 out of 9, I
Kevin
think.
O'Sullivan's team. It's just not that easy.
No, it's not. And when a couple things go sideways, you realize that it's a pretty fragile deal. An injury here, or somebody underperforms, or
pitchers don't pitch like you thought they would.
Yeah. When you look at Tim Corbin's program, I mean, this is one of the great programs in America, but 17 years, just 3 trips to Omaha. It's not that easy. And, back-to-back championship series appearances, but took them a while to finally break through, and been a few years since they've been back.
Berkey, it felt like Virginia and Vanderbilt would be there every year.
Yes, it did.
Since 07, Louisville and Vanderbilt among the top 5 as far as wins go. This is Mike Martin's last year, Florida State.
Dan McDonald, what he has done here, leading the NCAA in wins from the time he stepped on campus till right now. For those that don't have the history of where this program was when he got it, and Lalo Prado had got them up. They had moved into this facility. They had made a regional. It was on the come, but where he's taken it from there to now it's just incredible. But people did not think you could do it in this part of the country. They just didn't think it was possible.
Well, you mentioned the Citadel's got some SEC roots as well. This is like a swinging bunt. Look at Martin field and fire. And that was good. A good defensive inning. Very few pitches. Only 62 pitches thrown through 5 innings for Mason Hickman.
How about Austin Martin, ladies and gentlemen? We know about the bat, but how about the glove, the athleticism, charge, and throw to get to Speedy Snyder? Commodores can do it all.
Carl Ravitch, Chris Burke, and our ACC on ESPN crew bringing you a little Tuesday night college baseball here on ESPNU with Vanderbilt up 2-1 over Louisville. 4, 5, and 6 due up against Adam Elliott, who has looked outstanding on the mound, the lefty. Formula for success. We've talked about these teams. What's the formula for success, in your opinion? If you're blueprinting getting to Omaha, what does it require?
Well, I think that the two statistics that usually bear out the most are ERA and fielding percentage, and that's pretty
Pitching
standard,
and
right?
defense,
Pitching
yep.
and defense. I think it helps to have experience. And you talk to some coaches, and this sounds really shallow, but I think if you think about it, it makes a lot of sense. If you got a couple big leaguers on the mound,
Yeah.
right?
Well, I mean, that's part of the blueprint. What do you need? Two aces?
Guys,
What do you
right?
need?
Yeah, you need a couple
two
real
horses.
guys. You look at Florida, right? They had Faedo
Yep.
and Singer and Cole. Like, you got to have dudes.
The
that you-
UCLA days, you had Cole Bauer.
Yes, flip them the ball. They can go out and win the game essentially by themselves. And especially in that ballpark, if you can pitch and defend, you're gonna be right there with a chance to win every ball game in the latter innings. And as Coach Mack said earlier, can you get some big hits? To me, that's where the experience comes in. Do you have some hitters that you can trust against other teams that have and they're elite pitchers? Do you have some hitters that you trust to come up with big hits? And I think both these teams represent that model very well. UCLA certainly represents that model this year very well, as also number one in the country in ERA.
Snyder there for the out. Yeah, UCLA, I mean, you got used to them being a pitching dominant team, and this was when the baseball was a little different and the outfield was playing 15 feet behind the infield. They'd win 1-0 with a sac bunt. This team can score.
They can. They can hit the ball at the ballpark, and really they're pitching at a super high level, but it's not with the dominant first-round arms that maybe those teams that you just referenced had. But, yeah, you look at the top 16 projected seeds, and this was before West Virginia lost their series to TCU, and so there's a little bit of a shakeup there, but the Power 5 conference is well represented on that list.
New pitcher comes into the game. That is Shea Smitty. Elliott does his job. Bullpen busy for the Cardinals of Louisville, and a good job by Adam Elliott. He came in, went 1-2-3, gave up a double, and that was really it. He retired 6 of the 7 men he faced in 2 1/3, 33 pitches. And Burke, it's not like he's the number one guy out of the bullpen all the time, but boy, he looked like a number one guy tonight.
He did, and I think if you're going to have success against this Vanderbilt lineup, you got to have some tough left-handers that you can flip the ball to. They're going to give it to the right-hander Shea Smitty, and he has been outstanding this year. The junior from Defiance, Ohio, where they've had a nice little pipeline. How about 6 hits in 14 innings, Ravi?
That'll work, and now he faces DeMarco in the first pitch, fastball high. Threw at Notre Dame, 2/3 of an inning, and he gave up nothing. He struck out 1. That was his last outing. Breaking ball goes 59 feet, and he's behind 2-0.
Not a good spot to be in against the red-hot Pat DeMarco. Up over 300 now. At this point in the lineup, it's almost like you got the slightly lesser version of Martin and Blade. It's like, you go DeMarco and Scott, maybe not quite having the year those other two guys are, but two guys that can really hurt you in a few different ways.
Yeah, you're missing your 50-plus RBI and your 23 homers. But, yeah, I hear exactly what you're saying. 4, 5, 6 in this order can cause some real problems.
And, Stephen Scott, this is a young man who hit 15 home runs last year. So, he did the bulk of it in the last month of the season. He's a dangerous hitter.
DeMarco already stole the base tonight. Smitty in those 14 innings has 14 walks, 23 strikeouts. You mentioned just the 6 hits. So we were talking earlier about sort of this transition and the importance. You mentioned Roger Williams and his impact on this staff. It does feel like there's a lot of major league teams that have kind of reached down into the college ranks, whether it be because of the attention paid to the analytics, or the fact that we're moving some of the younger kids up to the majors real quickly, and their ability to communicate. Communication seems to be the watchword now in front offices. Your ability to connect with the player and communicate our message, our analytics to that player. That ball is hammered foul. Wow. I mean, hammered. There's some of those 15 home run power. But again, you know, whether it's Wes Johnson or...
Right, the data is only as good as the ability to communicate that data to the players and help them do better, right? At the end of the day, if we just have a bunch of numbers on a piece of paper or some fancy images on a screen, and Roger Williams, of course, the resume speaks for itself. He's not real happy about that last pitch. It does go as a long strike. But, yeah, you think of Wes Johnson, and he goes from Arkansas to the Twins, and how well the Twins have done almost immediately. And I do think it's interesting, Major League Baseball, how there is a new mindset and how they are open to college baseball in a way that really, for me, is brand new. And you heard it with Rob Manfred last year. You did the interview, right, in Omaha, where he said college is doing a better job of developing big leaguers than the professional game is. And I think they are taking notice of that. Front offices are, and they're kicking the tires with college baseball in a way that they never have before.
Yep. Good pitch on the inside corner, 1 and 2. Well, look, the facilities have a lot to do with it. Where these kids are playing, the competition they're exposed to in certain power conferences for sure. The nutrition, the exercise, and the coaching, whether it is the pitching coaching or 2 examples you got here in Corbin and McDonald. 1-2, they want to come back in
the
again.
Coaching and the investment in coaching. I mean, talk about a couple head coaches here that are both making $1 million. And so, you know, the best coaches in America are in college. That's where they're getting paid the best salaries. Now, I'm sure there's some guys at the highest level of Major League Baseball that would argue that. But as far as every level short of that, these are the most desired jobs that there are. And so the reason why kids are developing at such a high level is the coaching staffs, especially at these elite programs around America, are just fantastic at holistically developing student athletes. I mean, it is a holistic deal these days.
Good comeback after the walk to DeMarco to strike out Scott.
I don't know the statistic for this, Ravi, but usually when you hit a foul homer, you don't get a hit. Steven Scott hit one of the farthest balls you'll ever see hit earlier in the bat. And Shea Smitty gets him chasing at a good breaking ball down in the dirt. The opposite's also true, right? When you pop up foul and they drop it, you almost always get a hit.
You're on base.
Yeah.
Yep.
So Steven Scott was doomed once he hit that foul homer.
It's very rare that you see the foul homer turned into a fair homer in that at bat. You're right. Here's Harrison Ray, the second baseman, 0 for 2 tonight. Fastball misses. I thought the interview with the Louisville, it was who talked about we're trying to keep it simple?
Oh,
was
yeah,
it
in
Corbs
playoff baseball. No, it was Coach McDonald just talking about it allows him to talk about the 3 things that he loves to talk about in playoff baseball. Yeah.
Keeping it simple. Last night we were talking with Mike Schilt, who, of course, is the manager of the Cardinals. That one is ripped to center field. And he's over there. And with all the analytics conversation, he said, look, our goal is to get ahead in the count put the ball in
Yeah.
play and play defense. With all the information, kiss it. Keep it simple, stupid.
I like it.
Wearing off tonight. And what an ideal day and night for baseball. Got some Commodore football action going on here, so some Vandy fans in the house.
Golden Eagles. What? I missed that.
It's the Viper version of Vanderbilt. They must have youth football for the Golden Eagles.
All right.
Unless the parents named them Golden Eagles.
That would be interesting.
That would be very interesting. Little squibber out to second. It's got a lot of spin on it. Ray is there to make the play. So Tyler Fitzgerald is retired. Here comes Logan Wyatt. Good-looking lefty, the first baseman. Now, would Louisville be prone to perhaps doing anything, and now with one out it's a little late, but are they prone to doing something small ball to tie the game up later in the inning, 7th, 8th?
Yeah, I think like any good offense in any sport, they're multiple enough to play the game in front of them, right? And we know they can run. They show that every year, but they'll play the inside game when the game tells them to.
So we went to break talking about Mike Schultz of the Cardinals last night. Here we are with the shift, and Logan Wyatt hit into it earlier in the second inning. But in the end, the coaches, as you mentioned, communication, they're trying to simplify the message.
Yeah.
It's just a different way of communicating the same message. And you have the numbers to kind of support the message, but the message is what baseball has always been. Throw strikes, get ahead. What we have now at the major league level, that one is ripped. It's off the glove of the diving Julian Infante. That's going to be extra bases for Logan Wyatt, a stand-up double. And the Cardinals are in business. Logan Wyatt picks up double number 13.
Yeah, been really aggressive in his first couple at bats. Just seen 2 pitches in this ball game, but a little more patient in this AB and rips one just inside the first base line past the diving Julian Infante. And the home crowd's all fired up to see that as the Cards trying to pull even in this ball game, and their star freshman feels like the right guy to do it.
Look at what Logan Wyatt has done in his last 13 games. He's got good speed out there as well for Alex Pinellas.
Yeah, runs pretty well for a big man.
Yep. Very efficient night so far for Mason Hickman. Still in the high 60s as far as pitch count goes in the bottom of the 6th inning.
Just fills it up, man. Just fills the zone up with strikes.
Vanderbilt bullpen starts to get busy. Last week, Pinellas went 9 of 13. He had 643. He was the National Player of the Week. See the action in the Vanderbilt bullpen. A.J. Franklin, the lefty. He's warming up.
And you wonder, you got the right-handed Oriente on deck, and then Campbell, the left-handed hitting that right fielder after him. So I would imagine we probably wouldn't see Franklin until we got to Campbell.
This feels like a big batter for him to get.
Yes.
Little Matt Carpenter look to that swing we just saw there from Pinellas.
The beard and you just feeling it? Yeah.
All of it.
Feeling it.
He's seeing the pitch. He's just not hitting it.
No, that ball, the bottom is dropping out of it. And, you know, if you're going to go down and get that breaking ball, you got to get down there with it. You got to get in that back knee and get the barrel down below that baseball because it is diving violently as it gets to home plate.
Throwing 3 in a row or no?
Yes.
There it is, and it worked, and he struck him out. Back to back to back breaking balls.
And I think this is maybe the next phase in the development of Benelis. You see 3 in a row, and as you said, didn't look all that fooled, but just unable to get below the baseball, and just the understanding that the design of that pitch is to make you swing over it. So as a hitter, you got to try to reroute the barrel and get below it. And that's where you see some of those guys in the big leagues literally go down to their knee.
Sure.
Adrian Beltre,
sure.
he was famous for it because you're just trying to beat that ball to the spot as it's diving into home plate.
Logan Wyatt out there at second base. Danny Oriente trying to tie this game up. And he may have done it. Left field, a dive to the center fielder. He can't get it. It's the left fielder who retrieves it. Oriente picks up RBI 34, and we are tied 2-2. Pat DeMarco really didn't have a chance to catch that baseball.
I don't think he saw it, Ravi. I don't know. This was a bad route. I don't know if he thought it was hit better than it was or if he just didn't see it. But he went back and then came over and then came in and really never got close to making that play as Oriente comes up with the big hit. But that's a ball that if he gets a great jump on, I think he can finish that play. And just didn't get a good read on the angle of that baseball, and it cost Vanderbilt a run.
Tim Corbin's going to go to his bullpen, and that's going to be the night for Hickman. He was able to get Benelis with that strikeout, but then Danny Oriente delivered his 34th RBI of the season. And he stands out there at second base. His 13th double has tied this one at 2. Good outing for Hickman, but he'll be replaced. New pitcher coming into the game for Vanderbilt when we come back. The ACC on ESPN.
Mason Hickman gave Vanderbilt all they could have asked for out of him tonight, facing a red-hot Louisville team that enters this game having won 9 straight. We saw the big breaking ball from him, the fastball command that we know he features on a start-by-start basis, and just unable to get that last out to pitch him through 6 full, but a heck of a performance by Mason Hickman. 5 2/3, just 6 hits, no walks, 5 punch-outs, and a heck of an effort. I feel like he deserved a little better on that last one. Could have gotten off the field with the lead.
New pitcher Berkey, A.J. Franklin, the left-hander, a redshirt junior, 180 pounds, 6'2", out of Lebanon, Tennessee. His numbers are not great. I mean, the 5.91 ERA, the hits that he has allowed in the 10-plus innings, and his strikeout to walk rate of 13-8. He had a real rough outing, giving up 6 runs and 2 homers. He walked 3 against Cal State Fullerton on opening weekend. And what do you make of that decision? Just an effort by Tim Corbin to see if we can maybe count on this guy down the stretch here and into the postseason?
I think that's exactly it. I think this gives you a little bit of an insight of the way they view this game, which is, okay, we've been leaning on our horses all season long. We might need another arm or two that we can trust because you just never know what happens in postseason play. So let's throw one of our guys out there in a big environment against a great team and see what he's got.
Drew Campbell singled this last time up, the number 7 hitter in the order, the right fielder. Either way, that was a clutch hit from Danny Oriente to tie this one up. In the dirt, good block. Mile-an-hour fastball.
You can see that one got on Campbell right there. Just kind of a quick arm action there from Franklin. This is not a Vanderbilt staff that lacks left-handers. I mean, they got 5 left-handed pitchers on this staff.
Oriente out there at second base, the go-ahead run. Beaten into the ground, tough play by Martin, but he is there and he is able to keep the bag. Nice play by Austin Martin. And we will stay knotted at 2. Aggressive play, man. Charged.
Pickett on the run right there, Austin Martin.
Welcome back, everyone. May 11th, the UFC 237 from Brazil. Rose Namajunas defends her strawweight belt against the #1 contender, Jessica Andrade, in the main event. That's on pay-per-view. ESPN, ESPN Deportes have prelims. That starts at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific. You want to order the main event, go to espnplus.com/PPV. Second inning of work for Shea Smitty. He'll face 8-9-1 Ty Duvall, Julian Infante, and then back to the top. And a new ball game with 3 innings to go, 2-2.
You know, I know we didn't get the game 1 starters from either one of these clubs, but it kind of has that almost a super regional feel to it. I mean, this has been a really well-played game, and runs are hard to come by. Certainly the atmosphere is right.
More offense. I think it speaks to the depth of the pitching.
Yeah.
I thought Hickman pitched a really good game.
He did.
And how often do you get into the postseason and either somebody gets hurt or you get knocked around or there's rain?
Oh, yeah.
You need that other guy.
For sure.
If not 2 other guys to really pitch you through that.
And even if it's, like you said, there's a rain and he has to come back and pitch, you know, from the 4th on because you had a rain delay in the middle of the game, or maybe you end up in a loser's bracket like Oregon State did last year.
Exactly.
And you got to figure out a way to stave off all those elimination games.
Good battle back here by Smitty after falling behind 3-0. Refreshing too, I'll be honest with you, to see guys get it, throw it. Balls are being put in play.
Yeah.
The strikeouts are not nearly what they are at the next level. Obviously, the home runs aren't. Major League Baseball has become so homer dependent. And all you got to do is watch your phone for the updates. Bryce Harper, grand slam. Mitch Moreland, 3-run home run. Orioles with 2 homers tonight. It's a constant stream of homer ball or strikeout ball.
And I thought the Red Sox, Astros runs of the last couple years would
change things a little.
Yeah, just teams trying to be a little more well-rounded and maybe valuing the ball in play more than maybe of recent years. But you're not really seeing that early on.
No, we're not seeing balls in play at all. Strikeout numbers are astronomically high. Like last year, there'll be way more strikeouts than hits. There'll be way more foul balls than hits. And there's no question, when runners get on base, and Dan talked about it, things change.
Yes.
The game just becomes a grinder. You become obsessed with the runner at first, who very likely
isn't going
anywhere. And you can just see the effect it has on a pitcher. It's just his mind more than anything.
Yes.
Infante hits it right back to him. Oh, Smitty may have had a throw to second. He wasn't even thinking about it, though.
No, you got the catcher on first base and a ball bunted right back to you. That was definitely an opportunity to steal a lead out. I mean, this is cookie cutter right here. Right back at you. You turn and whip it to second base. And you'll never complain about getting it out on a bunt, but that was a missed opportunity right there. And now you got to deal with Austin Martin in a runner in scoring position.
Not only that, I thought if you fire it to second, you may actually have a double play on that ball.
Yeah, maybe.
When Looks like Dan McDonald's going to make another pitching change. He's on the mound. He's staring into his bullpen.
And you know they're talking about it right now.
Cardinals are going to make a pitching change, but a coaching lesson, a coaching opportunity. Michael Kirian, one of the best pitchers for the Cardinals, is coming in. 2-2, top 7, 1 down. Hope you're enjoying it. Hey, the back end of the pen for the Cardinals has historically been good with the Birdie brothers and the others that they have brought in, and they have a terrific back end of the pen this season with the two Michaels, Kirian and McAveen, with an ERA both sub-1. Look at the strikeouts. 60 strikeouts, 10 walks.
Yeah, what a luxury for Dan McDonald. Not only that, but righty-lefty.
Yep.
So you got two guys. They got 9 saves between them. You got two guys that you can trust to close out the end of a ball game, and you can mix and match based on what the other team has up. Now, I do find it interesting that they're going to the lefty Kirian here against Austin Martin.
.23 1/3 for Kirian, 22 McAveen, and that first pitch, breaking ball in there for a strike.
Wow, that's a big breaking ball there. One of those that you have to see once before you can pull the trigger. I mean, that thing starts way in the other batter's box.
Martin has reached base twice, a walk, a double in the 5th. And he just looks very bad. I guess the word I'd use with Martin is balanced. He always looks balanced.
Yeah, I like the word connected. I just, it's rare that you see somebody get this many hits that also takes this many balanced, controlled, connected swings. He is a special, special hitter.
74 hits on the season, the 5 homers, 32 RBI. Close.
He's got his hands full here. Kirian, just that big backdoor breaking ball, and then kind of almost a crossfire fastball that you can tell he likes to run into right-handed hitters.
Kirian's a big dude on that mound, 6'6", 235.
First pitch breaking ball, nothing but heaters since. You wonder if he tries to, you think about all those fastballs in that he's thrown. Probably not a bad time to try to backdoor that breaking ball again.
Martin's double was to right center field. Here's the next one. That's down as well, and he's worked himself into a 3-2 count. I like that. So you like the word connected better than balanced?
Balance and connected, I think, paint a similar picture.
3-2. There's a breaking ball at 81. He took something off of it, and he picks up a big second out.
Well, he hadn't gone back to it since strike one, Carl, but after a steady diet of heaters, goes back to that breaking ball and gets Martin right over the top of it. Just couldn't quite get the barrel down to that breaking ball. And what a big punch out right there. Of course, one more big one left here.
In J.J. Bleday, he has reached once, a single scored in the 3rd inning. Other than that, a couple of pop-ups. One to right, one to left. He's the top home run hitter in the country. He'd like to just get a single now, knock in that run. That one's in the dirt, and Duvall thought about advancing out there at second base. It's kind of moments where your season, which has been so spectacular, you find yourself in, and just the way he's gone this year, you'd figure Bleday is looking forward to this challenge.
Yeah, you wonder if he's sitting on a breaking ball here. And now at 2-0 with first base open and a tie ball game, think you sleep better if Ethan Paul beats you than if J.J. Blade beats you. And so I don't really see the need to challenge in the strike zone here.
See Pinkham looking in. He got the sign from
Roger Williams. Took his time on that one,
did.
almost where they weren't thinking about walking him. Those two won a lot of ball games together.
I don't sense they're going to walk him.
3 breaking balls in a row. You know, I think if you're J.J. Blade, you would do well to just sit on it. I think if he throws a fastball here, it's probably with the purpose of trying to strike him out on a breaking ball the next pitch anyway.
Tough pitch, 93 and up.
He was late there. That did not look like he was committed to the fastball.
Go breaking ball?
Yeah, I think that's what they're going to try to get him out with.
Nope, fastball down and in. So he's changed eye location. He's been up, he's been down. Seeing the breaking ball, and now a full count.
Neither one of those fastballs were strikes, right? As you said, he's changing his eyes. I really think the pitch he wants to get him with is breaking ball. And my guess is that's where he's going right here.
Against the country's top home run hitter and the all-time single-season home run hitter at Vanderbilt.
And this is just one of those now, you know, so often the later the at-bat, the longer the at-bat goes, the advantage shifts to the hitter. They've seen the breaking ball, they've seen the fastball, they feel comfortable with the release point. You gotta be careful throwing a breaking ball in the zone right here, but they've seen a few of them now.
Ground ball, fair ball, fielded cleanly by Wyatt, and that'll do it. They retired, they strand the runner at second. Kirian comes bouncing off the mound, much to the delight of the fans here in Louisville. Heading to the bottom of the 7th, 2-2 between 2 top 5 teams. Seattle and the Yankees in a good one right now, and you'll be able to see them tomorrow night, 6:30 Eastern time. That's an earlier start time than usual. Looks like Yusei Kikuchi will be on the mound for Seattle. Well, Saigo will pitch for the Yankees. Seattle leading the American League in home runs. They get 70. They destroyed the Red Sox to open the season. They've kept hitting since, and it's the Brewers and the Cubs. Sunday night baseball on ESPN. Our coverage will start in Chicago, 6 Eastern time, as baseball tonight's Sunday night countdown hits the road. It's available on the ESPN app. Carl Ravitch, Chris Burke.
How's the Sunday night road show been going this year?
It's been great. It's been not on the road yet. We're taking it for the first time this week.
Okay.
Kind of got some NBA finals and some conflicts, so we're ready to kind of burst onto the scene. It's a tough time of year, man. You got hockey playoffs, which have been great. You got the NBA playoffs, which have been very good. There's now 2 major golf championships. Yeah, you know, they moved the PGA championship up. So there's a lot of competition for the sports eye.
Yes.
Sunday we'll be in Chicago, and the NL Central with the Cubs and Brewers is a great way to kick off our Sunday night.
That's a good one.
Baseball Tonight Countdown road shows.
That's always a good atmosphere.
Great.
Cubs and Brewers.
Yeah. It hasn't always, but it certainly has been recently the way the Brewers have been playing.
When the people don't realize when the Brewers are good, that is a great environment.
Great environment.
And they tailgate like it's football out there.
Yeah, they do.
It is really neat.
Summer in Milwaukee, very underrated.
It is.
Very
it really
underrated. Justin Levy on the corner, and that's stay here. 3-2 now. Crowd getting into it.
This is a opinionated fan base here. They will let the umpire know about it.
3-2. Late on a 92-mile-an-hour offering from Franklin. It's kind of funny. Literally, we're looking at a Cardinals uniform last night, and here's another Cardinal uniform. And, of course, in St. Louis, the reputation of the fan base is you know, America's fans, friendliest people on the planet. That is going to be an infield hit. That thing had, was it Minnesota Fats, who was the great pool player?
Yes.
That thing had some pool cue type stuff to it. And the leadoff man is on here in the 7th.
I think if this is one of those swings where if Justin Levy was swinging a wooden bat, he'd be holding the handle in his hand. But softly hit, perfectly placed, and the Cardinals got a leadoff hitter aboard.
You got to think with the 9-hitter, Pinkham up, you sacrifice Levy over to second base.
And Vandy's got some activity in their bullpen. They're going to play the righty-lefty matchup, it looks like.
2 sacrifices on the season for Pinkham. Still have a shift on up the middle. The only guy over on the other side is Austin Martin. It's just a good baseball name too, isn't it? Austin Martin.
It is.
Maybe it's Aston Martin, you think, but it's just it's a good baseball name.
It definitely is. I thought that the show was a little late right there by Pinkham. I'm used to seeing the Louisville hitters get the barrel out a little bit sooner.
Popped it up, but it's going to work beautifully with some spin. How about that play by Martin? Third base, by the way, was vacated, and wasn't until Duvall realized that. If Levy kind of looked to third, he may have had himself another base.
Yes, he would have, but that was not easy.
No.
This ball had a whole bunch of spin on it, and Austin Martin did a fantastic job of barehanding that ball and making an accurate throw, or that could have been first and second, nobody out.
Barehanded, too. That's a tough play. And now a tough guy at the plate in Lucas Dunn.
Already with an RBI base hit in this ball game.
Looks like Tim Corbin's going to let him, A.J. Franklin, face Dunn. That's a good pitch, 90 and away.
Well, he's come in and pounded the zone.
Yeah. One of the stories of the night, Vanderbilt 1 of 8 with men in scoring position. Louisville 3 of 7. And this guy Dunn delivered.
Yeah, you know, I just think Tim Corbin's kind of seeing what he has right here in Christian Franklin. I think that's what we're getting at. Because there's arms hot down there. They got more arms than you could possibly imagine in this Vanderbilt pitching staff. And Christian Franklin getting a chance to pitch out of a jam here late in the ball game.
Pounded, but a good hop. They look to third, and they get Lucas Dunn. So A.J. Franklin now worked his way into 2 outs. And the same way that Blade had a big chance, you got Jake Snyder now, the 2-hole hitter, with a big chance for Louisville.
A.J. Franklin, not Christian Franklin, excuse me, has done gets another big out. Now he's got the left-on-left matchup, and there's those big hits that Dan McDonald was talking about to start the game. Can you come up with those timely hits so often to find these matchups?
Martin plays a shallow third base. He is on the grass.
Well, I think you got to respect the bunt right here from Snyder. With 2 outs and a runner on third, it's a great way to steal an RBI, especially if you're not real comfortable with the matchup as a left on left. But
see, left on left, I'm thinking if I'm a lefty, I'm dragging this to first and I'm trying to
bring it with you.
Yeah. If we're gonna bunt.
Yeah, if that's your play. Yeah, especially Ray's playing deep. He could definitely go that route.
Louisville trying to go ahead in the bottom of the 7th and a 2-0 count to Jake Snyder. 1 for 3 tonight. Jam shot there. Martin got a nice stretch over there too by Infante on a ball that was up the line and nearly collided with Snyder. They strand the runner at third. Martin's been outstanding at third base tonight. Austin Martin driving an Aston Martin tonight. We're back, Louisville, and you're watching the ACC on ESPN. Good one tonight. Carl Ravitch, Chris Burke, 2-2 ball game. 8th inning, Vanderbilt comes to the plate. And all of a sudden, the bullpens have been very good again for both of these teams. And you have opportunities to scratch runs across. And both teams unable to do it. Paul leads things off, squares to bunt, ball outside. I know the major league teams, it's like a lost art, Berkey. You ask somebody to bunt, and it's embarrassing. I mean, it truly is embarrassing. The inability of the runners to get that ball down. That's a fair ball. Paul not bunting here, and this one's in the corner. He digs into second, and a leadoff double for Ethan Paul.
Well, that's what the Commodores were looking for, a little action from the leadoff hitter. How about a rocket on a hanging breaking ball just inside the right field line, and kind of waiting for something to happen for this Vanderbilt offense, waiting for one big swing of the bat. Senior shortstop gets the party started here in the 8th with a bullet into the right field corner.
All of a sudden, the crowd, which is enormous here tonight, gone a little quiet.
And here's your bunting situation.
For sure.
Now, I don't think we're going to get a bunt here. I think you got a really talented left-handed hitter up to bat. I wouldn't be surprised if this isn't a show situation here by Tim Corbin. I have seen him do this before. It's because I think he trusts Clark to swing the bat. See the kind of the fake early show and then swing it.
No sacrifice hits. This one is up. This is going to be a great play if we can make a catch. Ooh. Oh, what an effort.
What an effort. By
Alex Benellis. That just looked like it was going to be an unbelievable play, and he went hard after it.
And you look where he started and how much ground he covered just to make a play on that ball. And you love the enthusiasm. But last thing Coach Mack wants to do is his star freshman get banged up on a ball that he's 5 or so feet short of. But be interesting. That was not the swing Vandy's looking for Philip Clark. You're trying to get this ball to the right side of the field. Let's see if he gets a head out here.
Good pitch right at the knees, in there for a called strike 2.
That was nasty.
Ethan Paul out there at second base with his team leading 17th double to kick things off in the 8th.
One thing you'll see with Tim Corbin, he does not sack bunt a lot. This is a team that they will get it down from time to time, but you know, just 16 on the season and 47 games. So,
you know, we focus so much on these games, 2-2, 8th inning, and getting that run in, but you can't forget that, you know, Coach Corbin was a risk taker back in that 3rd inning. They would have had potentially a 3rd run, but he was gunned down by 6 feet.
Yes. In an inning where they looked like they had Perkins, the freshman who started the game for Louisville, they had him scrambling a little bit. He was on the ropes.
Little rope-a-dope. 2-2.
Oh, man.
Center field, that's going to get down. Paul was waiting, wasn't sure if it was going to hold up enough. And now Vanderbilt is in serious business. 2-strike hit. Clark delivers, and men are on the corners.
Such a good hitter. And that'll get him over, right, Ravi? How about a rocket up the middle to get him over on 2 strikes? Philip Clark is an advanced hitter, and he just keeps his nose in there on a 2-strike breaking ball and hits a bullet. I thought this was a easier read.
I agree.
Than Ethan Paul made it look, but he really played it safe there by seeing that ball down before he advanced.
Looks like Dan McDonald's making his way to the mound. And likely pitching change will be the 5th pitcher of the night for the Louisville Cardinals. And they are making that pitching change, and this is where they're trying to ice it. It's the closer coming in the top of the 8th inning in the biggest spot of the night. McAveen in. Michael Kirian, the sophomore, after 2/3 of an inning and a couple of hits, victimized like so many other pitchers who have had to face Vanderbilt this season. And he's out of the game after throwing 20 pitches. He leaves with 2 runners on, and now Michael McAveen into the game. Big number 41 for the Cardinals, and all sorts of really good numbers for the junior out of Canby, Indiana.
It's good stuff, Carl. Really good stuff. You'll see the fastball into the mid-90s, 94, 95, and a real swing and miss slider. So Perkins with just a little more life to it.
Yep.
And McAveen has been outstanding. Look at that, 30 punchies, just the 4 walks, and another batting average against that is minuscule. 22 innings, just 10 hits. So hitters have had their hands full with McAveen, and he's get a chance to slow down the red-hot Pat DeMarco here.
Yeah, I mean, think about Vanderbilt, and with all the good hitters, at least tonight, this is probably the guy who's got a single and a double and a walk that you want at the plate.
Yes.
Nobody out in a 2-2 ball game. Pat DeMarco. 5'11" sophomore from Staten Island, New York, in a big spot.
And you can see behind home plate a lot of the scouts' radar guns going up. Mike McAveen, a highly coveted draft prospect, being intently scouted here tonight.
You see those radar guns in the background, and now the 1-0 in there at 93. Double by Paul to start, single by Clark. That's how you get first and third and nobody out.
DeMarco feeling pretty good, but that's at the top of the ladder right there. Just gas at the top of the zone right past DeMarco, who goes fishing just out of the strike zone, and you got to believe McAveen's got him set up for that breaking ball right here.
Middle infielder's back. Good job by Pinkham.
That was not easy. Almost looked like he got crossed up too, but he didn't go out to the mound. 94, way off the dish.
Fastball right by him, 93 miles an hour. And a big first out. Now a double play can get him out of it.
I like it. How about trusting the hard stuff, coming in out of the bullpen, just throwing gas. And this is actually a pretty decent pitch to hit, but you know DeMarco's got the breaking ball in the back of his mind, and that's a fastball right down Broadway past the red-hot Pat DeMarco. Impressive right there by McAveen.
Now Steven Scott, who has struck out twice. He's seeing his 3rd different Cardinals pitcher tonight. Foul ball.
Well, if you're a Vandy hitter right now, you got to be ready for number 1. That's all he's shown you to this point. It's been nothing but heaters.
Up a mile per hour on that one, and now ahead 0-2.
And you can tell that fastball's got a little something special to it, because you're talking about two experienced hitters. Neither one of them been able to get the barrel to any of these McAveen heaters to this point.
He pitched twice in the weekend sweep of Notre Dame. An inning and 2/3. He struck out 3 and didn't give up anything. He's given up 1 double, 1 triple, 2 homers on the season. Here's your 0-2 to Scott. High and outside.
96, Carl Ravitch.
A little more in there.
A little more in that tank.
Breaking ball. Benellis is going to chase that one, but he's going to run into a wall if he goes over there any further.
Well, he's shown us already he's not too worried about that.
That's true.
Not afraid to go head first into it. There's your first breaking ball that we've seen from McAveen. That one had more of almost just a hard curveball action to it.
Michael McAveen came on for Michael Kirian, and he struck out Pat DeMarco with runners at first and third. Now he's trying to do the same to Steven Scott. See Scott, the left fielder, choking way up on that bat. Ooh, good catch. That thing was running away.
Pinkham's had a couple really nice stops here in this inning. 95, they were kind of, as you said, running away from him. There is a lot of life on this McAveen heater right now.
Good speed at third base if you're thinking maybe sac fly. Popped up, and it's on the infield. Fitzgerald behind Benellis. Who's going to get it? Nobody! Wow! Flashbacks to last year's College World Series Championship Series.
And Ravi, I didn't like that Fitzgerald didn't take control of this ball. This ball is way up in the air, right over the head of the third baseman.
Benellis' first look, too, is to the shortstop.
Yeah, look, this is Fitzgerald. Watch, he takes his late peek. He's peeking at Benellis instead of just, I got it. This is where your shortstop has got to take control of this baseball right here. And he just didn't ever look like he was convicted in that was his ball. And we talked about it earlier. So often when you hit a foul pop-up, that can come back, and it's not caught. It can come back to haunt the defense.
Slow roller to second base will get the go-ahead run in. And now you're full 3-2.
I will promise you there is not a team in the country that works on pop-up communication any more than Louisville. And that one will not sit well with Dan McDonald tonight, especially if it comes back to bite him.
A couple of fundamental things. Remember the bunt right back to the pitcher.
Yep.
Smitty could have maybe turned a double play or at least knocked down the leadoff runner. There's a few things to work on for sure. Big pitch, 3-2, first and third. 1 out, tie game. And that's going to go out of play. Quick bat, man. That was right in on his fists. May have been ball 4.
It definitely was ball 4. You can see Scott is certainly respecting the fastball of McAveen. He is way off the knob of that bat. He's choked up a good 2 inches there, looking like Joey Votto. Big moment in the ball game right here. This is one of those, as a hitter, you just figure out a way to move the baseball by any means necessary.
3-2. That is high, ball 4, and the bases are loaded. Went to a breaking ball on a 3-2 pitch.
Well, anytime you see a closer come in the ball game and you see 8-10 pitches and none of them are breaking balls, it's a pretty good sign that he's maybe not feeling that pitch at the moment. And We haven't really seen a good breaking ball from McAveen to this point. The breaking ball is kind of spinning coming up out of his hand.
Dan McDonald's going to come out, maybe go over the scouting report on
I don't blame
Harrison
him.
Ray.
I think Ray's definitely a candidate to maybe safety squeeze right here, and I would imagine they're going to be discussing that.
Now, Michael McAveen is not coming out of this game.
No, this is a defensive meeting right here. Where do we want to play? Where are we going to go on which ball? What are we going to do if we see a bunt?
Pinch runner at second base for Vanderbilt, number 13, Kiambu Fentress.
And of course, with the bases loaded, if Ray would decide to bunt here, it would almost have to be a suicide squeeze, not a safety squeeze, because you got the force out at home.
Kiambu Fentress has taken the place of Philip Clark as a pinch runner at second base. So you get Paul at third, Fentress at second, and now Scott at first for Harrison Ray. He is 0 for 3 tonight with a strikeout. It went back to the pitcher and a fly out to center. 1 out in the top of the 8th inning of a tie ball game. Good breaking ball in there to start him off. Strike 1.
Best breaking ball we've seen so far from McAveen.
.20 RBI for the second baseman on the season. Tough guy to double up. They won't have to double him up. This one is towards the gap, and it is going to get down. Harrison Ray. He brings in 1. Fentress is going to come around. He's going to score, and a clutch double for the second baseman puts Vanderbilt up 4-2. The number 7 hitter in the batting order, Harrison Ray, does damage to the closer.
How about this swing? Fastball out over the plate. And this is how you keep your nose down on a baseball right there. Just a beautiful job of staying on that ball and staying through that ball. And that is a rocket. Lucas Dunn looked like he had a beat on it, but just hit too hard. Harrison Ray with the big blow of the ball game so far. You know he's all fired up as he tosses the grenade back to the dugout. The Commodores up by 2.
7th double of the season, and it is a next man up for the Commodores. Big hits from everyone in the order, and it's the number 7 hitter who delivers tonight.
And again, doing it off 2 guys that have basically dominated the ACC. So just showing you how potent this offense is.
Ty Duvall. Over 2 with a walk. Change up in there for a strike to go 1-1.
And this is an obvious infield in situation. Cardinals playing in across the board here in the infield, trying to keep it at 2. Great situation to be in if you're a hitter. Turf infield, ball pretty much hit it anywhere but right at somebody. You get yourself a couple ribbies.
Chases the high fastball. 1-2. Yeah, the 2 guys, Kirian gave up some walks, and then McAveen gave up some hits. Duvall got jammed. They'll come home with it. Did he tag him? Yes, said the home plate umpire. Good effort there on the base running by DeMarco to avoid it. I should say Scott, but it looked like the tag was applied by Pinkham.
Man, how about Zeke Pinkham tonight behind the plate? He is doing some fantastic things with the glove. A ball hit at Fitzgerald, not a great throw. Pinkham goes down, gets it, And the extension to get the tag on Steven Scott. Look at him pick that ball, backhand pick that ball, and tag Scott right on the kisser.
Yeah.
How about that? That's 2 backhand picks we've seen from him in this game that have saved 2 runs.
He's been a star tonight, no question. So 6-2 for the out. And now it's Ray who's down there at third. 95-mile-an-hour fastball, the 9-hitter Julian Infante. Everywhere you look in that lineup, though, whether you're talking top of the order, 32, 61 RBIs from Martin and Blade. You go to Ray with now 22, Duvall 22, Infante 23 in the 9 spot. All these guys with 20-plus RBI.
Yeah, just really nowhere to rest.
These are both likely 40-win teams this season.
They're both going to get to 40 in the regular season, which is awfully impressive in the 2 leagues they play in.
This one is playable. And the out is made. But how about Harrison Ray, number 2, with a 2-base hit that knocked in 2 runs. And it changed the score and the complexion of this game. Fastball the other way. Commodores on the road, up by a pair, heading to the bottom of the 8th. Well, they got the rally jumps going here in Louisville. All we do is win, win, win. We dance a little bit too, and right now we're down by 2. Harrison Ray with the biggest hit of the night, that 2-run double in the 8th. And what was a well-pitched ball game by the starter for Vanderbilt for sure, Mason Hickman. 5 2/3. He gave up just 2 earned runs. He didn't walk anybody and 5 strikeouts. And now it's on Louisville's play to try to come back again. They were down 2-0, made it 2-1. Tied it in the 6th.
Yeah, let's see if they got a response in.
Tell you who's been very good tonight, and I think it's, as you said, and we kind of talked about, A.J. Franklin is...
Yes, A.J. Franklin has done
may have made an impression.
Job. I'd say he's earning himself some innings.
3-4-5 due up. Tyler Fitzgerald squares to bunt, ball 1. And always the critical inning after you score runs to make sure you don't give up any. Won't be easy, though. Fitzgerald and Wyatt, followed by Alex Pinellas, who has been held in check. There's a shot up the middle and a good start for the Cardinals. 3-4-5 had been 0 for 9 tonight, or I should say 1 for 8.
Boy, what a shot in the arm that is. Last inning started Vanderbilt with a double by Ethan Paul. Now Louisville responds, getting the leadoff man on themselves. And now here's their dude, Logan Wyatt, and of course Pinellas on deck with a chance to tie this ball game up.
Lefty on left, the next 2. Wyatt had a double in the 6th. That was the 1 hit from the 3-4-5 hitters. Shift on again. First pitch, strike 1.
And Tim Corbin just staying with Franklin.
Living with him.
Yeah.
Good pitch. 0-2. Look, this is a possible. We'll take 1 step back for 2 steps forward down the road. Yeah. If in fact it goes backwards. Right now it's going forwards.
That's right. Yeah, it's done nothing but work to this point. Let's see if they try to live in there against Wyatt. This is a big, long kid that likes to stand really close to the plate.
With an Anthony Rizzo approach.
Yeah.
He's choking up like Rizzo would, and he's right on that batter's box line.
And one thing Rizzo does to combat that a little bit too is he strides slightly open.
So, he gets drilled a lot.
Sure he does. As close as he stands.
Pin cushion.
Because you have to pitch him in. If somebody, it's like Bonds, right?
Yeah.
Bonds used to get hit all the time too. If somebody's going to stand that close to the plate, you have to go in there to try to speed them up.
1-2 to Wyatt. Nope. And he thought about chasing, but he laid off. 2-2. Eighteen of his 51 hits have been extra bases.
But that little sawed-off punch swing right there, I think, if you get somebody to chase one up and in like that with 2 strikes, usually that tells you that you got a chance to put them away if you can get your best breaking ball. The 2 that he's thrown to this point with 2 strikes have just been so far off the plate that a hitter with the pitch recognition of why it's not going to chase. But if he can get one start over the plate, I think he'd get one to fish right here.
Franklin's doing a good job of pounding that strike zone.
And this just speaks to the depth of the Vanderbilt pitching staff. They got a lefty like this just kind of hiding out. Only has 2 SEC appearances all year long.
An ERA just south of 6. Good pitch. Oh, wow. Was that a good-looking pitch?
And AJ
That may have fooled the hitter and the umpire.
He is not happy about it.
Is down at all?
It's
I don't think
not
so.
out.
No.
The only thing it could be is down.
Great look on Logan Wyatt's face, waiting to hear, we're going to be called out on that?
That's a beautiful feeling as a hitter when you think you've just taken strike 3 and you got new life.
See what he does with the new life on a 3-2. Not a play. Battle continues. This is where A.J. Franklin's going to bear down and forget that you feel like you just struck that guy out. Because that's part of this game.
Yeah, certainly the human error of balls and strikes is a big part of this game.
Oh, and he calls that strike 3. Wow. That one appeared to be a little bit outside, but perhaps, given some consideration to the pitch 2 pitches ago.
Are we calling it net even? Are we back to
playing
all
for the
square?
tie?
I got that one a touch outside. I had the other one on,
but you can't let that go by, can you?
If you're Logan Wyatt?
Yeah.
Right. No, I think it's just a beautiful pitch right there from A.J. Franklin, and certainly Logan Wyatt was locked up, and that one goes the Commodore's way.
No easier with Alex Pinellas up. Boy, that one nearly hit him.
Logan Wyatt has a reputation of having one of the best eyes in college baseball. Leads the ACC in walks. He's going to look if you get that deep in counts and you walk that much, you're going to strike out looking some. But even the breaking ball is called a ball, but that's a pitch you'd think he'd want to pull the trigger at, kind of down and middle away.
Yeah. Look, the same way that the pitcher has to forget about the idea that I just struck that guy out, but he didn't call it. The hitter's got to realize I may have gotten away with one.
Sure. I think it also speaks to the fact that A.J. Franklin got quite a bit on the baseball tonight.
Behind 2-0 to a real good hitter, the freshman Alex Pinellas gets the call in the corner, 2-1. He hasn't looked as comfortable as he has all season tonight with the 2 strikeouts.
No, he hasn't.
This is an extra base hit machine. Of his 42 hits, more than half have been for extra bases, 23 of them. on a 92-mile-an-hour fastball.
2-1 count. And absolutely tardy on that heater. So, again, A.J. Franklin has to be impressing this Vanderbilt coaching staff because he's making some pretty good left-handed hitters look awfully uncomfortable right now.
Leadoff man Tyler Fitzgerald out there at first after a single. Wow, Pinellas elevates at 90 and he celebrates another strikeout. Back-to-back strikeouts of two good hitters in Wyatt and Pinellas.
Yeah, this is called climbing the ladder right here, Ravi. Just a fastball that explodes up and in. And Pinellas tardy on the 2-1 fastball, so you know you're getting a 2-2 heater. And he extends the hitting zone to a place where he can't get the barrel to, and now how about A.J. Franklin? They're going to leave him out there again.
You know, you can actually can you see it in him, the confidence?
He kind of feels it right
now,
now,
he does.
Yep.
Certainly didn't look that way when he first came in, and the first pitch he threw went about 58 feet. But everything has changed now. Not after that one. First and third. No. He put the brakes on, and that throw went to second, and he was out, but they hit the cutoff man instead. And the Cardinals have runners at first and second.
A late decision there by Fitzgerald, who something tells me at some point between his turn and putting on the brakes, he thought about not wanting to make the third out at third. Let's see if he picks up Eric Snyder, the third base coach. The late break. Let's see. Yeah, he picks up Eric Snyder and puts the brakes on, and I think that was wise. Actually, a really nice piece of base running right there by Tyler Fitzgerald. Come around second with your eyes up on the third base coach, and if you see the stop sign, put the brakes on and get back. Eric Snyder not wanting to make the third out at third.
Number 17, Ethan Stringer.
Pinch runner going in at first base. That's Ethan Stringer. And I tell you what, I think Corbin is staying with his left on left for Drew Campbell.
Looks like it. Got the closer, Tyler Brown, all warmed up and ready to go.
He's Franklin in to face Campbell. He has thrown 35 pitches.
Big AB right here. You just don't know if you're going to get anything. You got the closer all warmed up and ready to go. You got a reliever who has not thrown many pitches this season, certainly of late.
His season high is 2 innings of work.
Yeah, I mean, he's 30. This will be his 37th pitch, so you got a chance to get a.
That was a good one, but it's not called a strike. It has been a strike even in this inning.
You got a chance to get a guy here late in an outing. Now you're ahead in the count, and let's see. Unlike Pinellas, if Campbell can get the barrel out here to a heater.
Campbell singled in the fourth, sandwiched around a couple of ground outs. Fitzgerald at second base. Goes to a 2-0 breaking ball, and he fouls it off 2-1. Just feels like if, in fact, you go to the SEC tournament and you're watching Vanderbilt in a game, that A.J. Franklin has earned himself some significant innings. In a big spot.
Yeah, that's
what this is all about.
Really good development if you're Tim Corbin and Scott Brown and this Vanderbilt staff. You got another dude out there you can rely on.
It's funny too, that fastball of his at 88 or 89, it doesn't accelerate as it as it gets to the plate, but it has that feel to it.
Oh, yeah. It plays up. There's no doubt about it.
This is a big pitch, 3-1 to a good hitter in Drew Campbell. Got 27 RBIs on the season, a couple of home runs. Should get something to hit, and if he doesn't, it's going to be Franklin's last batter, but he fouls it off, and now 3-2.
I mean, there have been plenty of hitter counts in this inning, and Louisville the lefties especially, just have not been able to get the head out. We saw Fitzgerald with a bullet to lead the inning off, but the lefties, they're just not seeing it all that well.
And if they could get one in, what a difference a one-run deficit in the ninth is compared to a two-run deficit, assuming they don't allow any in the top of the ninth. Pitch 41 from A.J. Franklin to Drew Campbell. Got him! And what an outing from A.J. Franklin. Ty Duvall runs out to the mound. In fact, the entire team has come out of the dugout to celebrate with A.J. Franklin. We saw a significant outing in the bigger picture for the Commodores tonight. ESPN tonight after the UFC 237 preview show. SportsCenter, Bucci and Levy have it. That's John Buccigross, Stephen Levy. Sixers Raptors heading back to Toronto, so Tim Legler will take you inside Game 5. Barry Melrose breaks down the Stars Blues Game 7. And in our Dear Mom series, it's Baker Mayfield recognizing his mom for making him the man he is today. SportsCenter, 11 Eastern on ESPN and the ESPN app.
How cool is that? Dear Mom
series. It's a great idea.
I like it.
Yeah, great idea. Moms deserve way more credit than they ever get.
That is the truth.
Leadoff hitter Austin Martin. And he delivers again. Boy, has he been terrific. And go back to one of the conversations we had about Team USA that Dan McDonnell is going to coach. Austin Martin's on the team.
I would agree.
Let's get to J.J. Bleday as he steps in. Big number 51. When you see J.J. Bleday, who else do you see?
Well, they asked me to comp him to a big league guy, Ravi, and I like Michael Conforto, the corner outfielder for the New York Mets. Played at Oregon State. When you look at the career college numbers, awfully similar.
Sure are.
Bleday a little bit taller.
Yep.
Conforto maybe a little bit thicker, but I think the body types are fairly similar. And you look at what Conforto's developed into, 25 to 30 home run kind of guy that's going to drive you in anywhere between 75 and probably 90 runs. And I certainly think Bleday can be that type of guy. Conforto went 10th in the draft. Bleday's projected, right in that neighborhood. College numbers are very similar.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, I think a little bit more Freddie Freeman, a little wristier swing than maybe Conforto has. You know who's killing it is Brian Reynolds. Have you seen what he's been doing?
Yeah.
Killing it.
Former Vanderbilt star, switch hitter. Playing with the Pirates now, right?
Yeah. Like you can't get the guy out.
Part of the national championship team.
Yeah,
his freshman year, I believe.
Yep. He played hurt. Didn't he play hurt that year?
That's a good question. Was it Johnny Norwood that hooked the home run?
Yeah, he did. Yep. That was the period of time where there were no home runs.
Right. Yeah, there was only a couple the whole series, right?
1-4-1, come on, babe.
Change up.
Yeah, but back to your point about Austin Martin, I would say, I obviously cover the Southeastern Conference a tremendous amount during the year, and knowing that Dan McDonnell was coaching the USA team, I've had some conversations with him about players that I've seen throughout the league, and Austin Martin was right there on the top of that list. And it's always nice when you give a guy a good pub and he shows out
in front of the coach,
in front of the guy, because equally as impressive as the bat has been the glove tonight. Think about all the plays he's made. Difficult chances, charging with the glove, the barehanded play we've seen, a couple routинers, and then, oh, by the way, 2 rockets in the right center field gap.
That pitch nearly got him on the knee. It went all the way to the backstop, so down to second goes Martin. And you're looking at 3-0 with first base open to the nation's top home run hitter.
Swinging.
And those two are way out of the strike zone. So Blade goes down to first base. And obviously for Louisville, you can ill afford any other runs to come in, with the closer all set to come in for Vanderbilt. Tyler Brown has 11 saves, is ready, and I think Dan McDonald saw what we saw with certainly the last two pitches.
Yeah, McAfee just never, I wouldn't say he looked all that comfortable out there tonight. You know, the breaking ball wasn't great. Fastball was kind of all over the place. And they're going to go get him.
Another pitching change. The Cardinals, the bullpen door has been busy tonight. Nobody out, top of the ninth inning, and a 2-run Vanderbilt lead. He's going to be busy. About 6 weeks of work, and we're grinding him for an entire year of salary. Mississippi State and Ole Miss. You're going to be there?
I will be there Sunday afternoon, Mother's Day.
LSU and Arkansas is a big series.
Yes.
Tigers could use some wins in Tennessee and Florida. It's amazing to just see that number 9 and 15 in SEC play. Kevin O'Sullivan, they are not what they have been recently, and the other night they were just not sharp. Their pitching wasn't effective. They gave up some big hits in bad spots.
It is odd to look at the SEC pitching statistics and see Florida at the bottom of all of them. It is really odd.
Garrett Schmeltz will come in, the freshman out of Louisville at 6'1", 185. And Donald pulled all the levers tonight in an attempt to win this game.
Yep, they went after it, no doubt about it. I think you got to give a ton of credit to A.J. Franklin.
No doubt. Star of the game.
I mean, Mason Hickman was fantastic. And
Ray had the big hit?
Yeah, Ray got the big hit. But what Franklin's giving him out of the bullpen has been incredible.
So a tough spot for Schmeltz to come in with 2 on, nobody out. You're looking at the 3, 4, 5 hitters and Ethan, Paul, Clark, and then DeMarco. Nobody out. And you're just trying to limit any damage here. Breaking ball high in the zone, called strike. Between Blade, Paul, and Clark, you're looking at over 160 runs batted in, the 3 of them.
Yeah, nobody in Power 5 conferences features 3 guys in a row over 50 ribbies like that.
One thing I've noticed tonight is that with 2 strikes, they seem to be pretty comfortable at the plate, the hitters.
I would agree with that. And that speaks to that experience piece we were talking about earlier in the broadcast. Just some of the signs of a championship caliber team. You just don't see too many teams run through Omaha with a lot of young players.
No. Good pitch in there for the strike. But it was Jim Leland with the 98 Marlins when he had like the A.J. Burnett's and the Josh Beckett's of the world.
Yeah.
Who said, you know what, Carl, I'll take talent over experience any day.
I think that was 03.
03, sorry.
Miggy was a rookie.
Yeah, that was the
Beckett,
Yankee series.
Burnett,
And Beckett,
was it Penny?
Yep.
Dontrell was in the bullpen.
Yep.
That was nasty.
But he said, look, I'll take talent over experience because they didn't have much of that.
That was the thing. I remember when the Mets had that incredible staff a few years ago when Harvey was at his peak and Syndergaard and DeGrom, and people were saying, have you ever seen 3 on one staff like this? I said, let me tell you something about the Marlins back in the early 2000s. And they had Beckett, Burnett, and Penny, and the D-Train.
Right.
I mean, you're talking about Beckett, Burnett, and Penny were all 97 to 100, all of them. And D-Train was funkiest 94 to 96 you've ever seen.
The funny part about the Mets asking about the Harvey, Syndergaard, DeGrom, they had the whole Wilson, Pulsifer, and Isringhausen thing.
They did.
Didn't work out.
That's right. Nothing new under the sun. We've seen it all in this game. But that Marlins staff back in the day was
the Marlins team was filthy.
Yeah, it was. It was. You're right.
Good pitch. Breaking ball in there, and it's 1-1.
Yeah, what was it? The 97, 98 team was the Sheffield, Rob Lynn, right?
Yep.
Renneria, that group.
I was with Tim Kirkshin last night. We were doing the Cardinals Phillies game, and he said, I asked Chris Burke about that home run that he hit, and he remembered every detail.
Ed Kirkshin's one of the great guys because he actually cares about the details. Like, he's listening.
I mean, there are some who ask the question and they don't want to hear the answer.
You get a minute into it and you go, they just kind of thought it was a cool question to ask. Yeah.
Yeah, more about me, less about you.
Yeah, that's right. Well, I thought you'd ask, but never mind.
Isaiah Thomas behind 1 and 2. Freshman out of Palm Beach Gardens, Florida. Batting in the spot of Philip Clark.
This will be one of the faces that we'll see in this lineup next year for Vanderbilt. So many of the ones anchoring down the lineup this year won't be back.
Thomas, golf shot to center field. It's going to stay up. And tagging and going to third, and now putting the brakes on, and he would have been out. Good play by Lucas Dunn. No advancement from Austin Martin. But he drew the throw, and that's really what your goal is.
That's a heck of a throw right there by Lucas Dunn. And you got to have some real arm strength to make Austin Martin put on the brakes. There's two teams in the SEC that feature this really interesting sophomore kind of senior dynamic. Mississippi State and Vanderbilt both have these super talented sophomores that are young and hungry but have experience under the belt because they played as freshmen, they played big game as freshmen. But then these seniors that have been around forever. And I just think that's a really dangerous composition of a club, one that I think will serve both these teams well in the postseason.
We're going to one more pitching change. It wouldn't work for Dan McDonald, the major league level, with the number of mound visits you're limited to.
What's that number these days?
I think it went from 6 to 5.
New pitcher for Louisville, number 26, Kerry Wright.
Seventh pitcher of the night, and the baby is like, wow, I've seen 7 different pitchers tonight for the Cardinals. What a night. Top of the 9th inning, and it's Kerry Wright who's on the mound. Got a little Fernando Rodney hat look going there. It's kind of crooked up there.
And barely on. I'm not so sure with his arm speed he's going to be able to keep that thing on. He's adjusting it right now with Kerry Wright. The numbers don't look great, but this is a young freshman that they have very high hopes for, a big-time recruit out of Orlando, Florida. And as I said earlier, they don't go down south for many. But this is a really good-looking young arm.
We interviewed Patrick Raby. If you haven't seen Kumar Rocker for Vanderbilt, you just talk about physical specimens, both He and Wright are big dudes on the mound. Both freshmen, both figure to be impact pitchers for the next couple of years for these schools. Here the entire Louisville bench rooting him on as he deals with Pat DeMarco, trying to cap off a huge night. Yeah, I think for all the attention paid to pace of play stuff, I don't think that you need the manager or coach to go to the mound to make a pitcher change. You could signal to the bullpen, next guy in, and the pitcher walks off the mound. You don't need to have a collective meeting out there. If you're really into the details of how do we save some time, and that certainly is one of the ways. I know it's something they've done for 1,000 years, but how necessary is it?
Well, again, if it's purely about saving time, you're right. I just think
that's
there's some dynamics that are going on there when you're changing pitchers.
That's all that's about. I understand the conversations, but you could conceivably say if we're so into limiting the amount of trips you make to the mound, well, you can eliminate several of them by saying any pitching change. 26, come on in. 5, come on out.
Simple.
Walter Matthau did that in Bad News Bears. I don't think he ever left the dugout.
Well, we got the intentional walk now, where we don't have to go through that whole dog and pony.
Yep.
Unfortunately, that doesn't come up very much.
Right. That loads him up for Stephen Scott. A Major League Baseball game going to Omaha this year, which will be great. Imagine what the crowd will be like and the atmosphere.
That's going to be cool.
It will be.
It really will be. Going back to the pen, Raph.
Yeah, I'm going to let you deal with that one.
Okay. We're going to see number 31 here. Carter Lohman's going to get a chance to come in here and pitch at
the
big-time spot with the bases loaded. The eighth.
The eighth pitcher of the night. In a 4-2 game, the eighth pitcher of the night. Not a lot of talking going on the mound. Jack Ralston has led UCLA all season long to the #1 ranking. The Cardinal of Stanford, #3. Oregon State had a bumpy weekend, but if you want to be reminded of what a great college baseball player and superstar major league potential for Adley Rutschman will be, you got to check out Oregon State, and he's doing it without a great deal of offensive support.
Oh, it's incredible. I mean, you look at, he's already set the Oregon State record for walks in a year. And they've got, still double-digit games left to play. So, but all the while, he was the National Player of the Month for April. He's hitting .430 and still dominating the game when he's getting his chances, and completely shutting down people's running game from behind the plate.
So it's Carter Lohman with the bases loaded. First pitch, strike one. I think for people that do watch college baseball, and it definitely goes up in interest as the season goes on, especially when you get to the regionals, super regionals, and the College World Series, you hit 400. No one hits 400, but we look around baseball, and there's a handful of guys hitting over 400.
Yeah.
How come you were able to do that at the collegiate level? And you did it.
Well, obviously it's not quite as difficult as the major league level. You don't, probably more than any of it, you don't have the as many at-bats, right? Over time, it would probably continue. Because if you look right now, there's a handful of guys doing it. But come June, it'll be down to just a couple. It dwindles and dwindles and dwindles. It's just the difficulty of this sport, not only the physical grind, but the mental grind of trying to get it. It's like having a great round of golf. It's hard 16, 17, 18, right? So these guys start thinking about the number. Everybody wants to hit 400, but it's a difficult number to reach. And I'd say Austin Martin's given himself some padding, and so has Adley Rutschman. So it'll be cool to see if they can both hold on. Yeah, Jake Mangum's right there on the cusp. So we get a look at the national leaders there. Adley Rutschman and Austin Martin tied entering tonight.
That's just unheard of numbers for the most part at most levels. And this is SEC guy. This is
SEC and Pac-12 guy doing it. Yeah. Yeah, even Rooker a couple years ago, I think he finished at 379. India last year was way up there for a good chunk of the year and fell under 400.
Three-two with nowhere to put him in a 4-2 game in the ninth. And the bases loaded walk. It's 5-2.
Well, unlike A.J. Franklin, the Louisville staff has not quite seen the same response from some of their bullpen guys in this ball game.
It's a bad look when you're bringing your ninth pitcher in. I'm sorry. I think he's apologizing to his pitcher.
Yeah, well, it's just been straight right, left, right, left, right, left.
AJ.
Luke Smith, your turn as he becomes the ninth pitcher of the night for Louisville. Bases loaded.
Fifth pitcher for Louisville, number 45, Luke Smith.
Well, that's been the way it's gone for Dan McDonald. He has now used 9 pitchers, and we were just talking about it during the break. Usually in a 9-pitcher game, it feels like it would be a blowout.
Yes.
And I guess he's still, obviously he's trying to win the game, so he's making these switches. But I gotta believe if you asked him after, how many times has he used 9 pitchers in a game? It's not going to be a long list.
Yeah, I would agree. And I just think that not only are they getting some arms out there, he just wants to keep playing the matchups. And as weird as this game feels and as kind of much as it's drug on, it's still just a 3-run game.
I know.
So I still think he doesn't want to just let some young arm have a leash and let this game really get away from him. He's trying to manage it the best he can, but 9 pitchers is a lot.
And look, the same way that maybe Tim Corbin was kind of making a statement like, look, A.J. Franklin, you're doing well, you're staying in, is that we don't have tolerance for walks. That's not how this is going to work.
Right.
Well, Harrison Ray had the biggest hit of the night. He's back up again, and now he's ahead 2-0. He had that double, which played at 2, turned the 2-2 game to 4-2. And it feels like they would have added 10 runs since then, but it's been 1. Right?
That's it. Well, the last 3 pitchers, including Smith, have just been asked to get one guy out. They're not just having a hard time finding the strike zone.
Another 4-pitch walk. All eyes are on number 3 in the dugout, but he doesn't appear to be making a move this time.
We're hanging with Smith.
Not done yet, Doobie.
Now Ty Duvall with the bases loaded. A lot of times great pitching is contagious. Can this stuff be contagious?
It certainly feels like it tonight, doesn't it? I think that, it's easy to nibble against this Vanderbilt lineup, and it's easy, especially when you come in with the bases loaded, to not want to give up that one swing that blows the game wide open. But I think we've reached the point now where everybody just wants to see the hitters be challenged.
Called strike 1 and 2.
Smith was used as the Tuesday guy for most of the season. Made 8 starts this year, but is giving way to Jack Perkins in that role. Now finds himself in kind of a swingman relief position on this pitching staff.
Right field, and it is playable. 8-9-1 due up for the Cardinals. After giving up some insurance runs, Tyler Brown's got 11 saves. He's coming to the mound for Vanderbilt as they try to win their 39th of the season. Welcome back, everyone. It's Vanderbilt 6, Louisville 2. We go to the bottom of the 9th inning. And on the mound now is Tyler Brown. He's been a terrific story on the mound, but he has had to deal with some tragedy in his life that, according to Tim Corbin, has obviously made him the man he is. You see him there with a picture with his mom. His mom, Cindy Brown, passed away. He puts a picture of her in his equipment bag before he leaves the home. He carries her with him all the time. He ended up being adopted by his then coach when he was just a young boy. His dad turned to drugs after the mom was diagnosed with cancer, so he was incapable of raising Brown. And all the tragedy and adversity and obstacles that he has dealt with, to see him in a situation like this at a university like this with the full support of his adoptive parents and this community, he's a kid you certainly root for when he's on the mound.
Yeah, what a neat story. And, there's that is not the straightest path to a place like Vanderbilt, and there's been some tough times along the way, but he has really made a name for himself this season especially, and just the type of kid that's really easy to root for, especially when you talk to Tim Corbin. He gives you the background and the character of the kid. And
basically, his mom died. She collapsed at home, and Tyler had to carry her to a bed before running down the street to get a neighbor who was an EMT. As he said, she died in my arms, and he promised her he'd be successful. He said, she gave me life. I try to make sure I take advantage of every opportunity that I am given because of what she gave to me. He was adopted in December of 2015. The Oswald family. Brandon coached baseball and took an interest in Tyler when he was 10. Amazing what people do in times of tragedy like that, how they step up, open the door for Tyler Brown like that. And look what he's done with that opportunity. A big strikeout there. His numbers are terrific. And you think about formulas for success as a team in a baseball sense, you got to have a dude that can close the game.
yeah, another one of those pieces, right?
Yes,
another one of those pieces we talked about. UCLA's closers got 14 saves. Vanderbilt, Tyler Brown creeping up towards that number. There's all the makings here,
right?
Really, with both of these clubs. Of course, Vanderbilt played a little bit better this evening, but it would not shock me if we saw these two again in Omaha.
Well, the difference for the most part when you got these caliber teams, you have those guys that on Friday and Saturday are going to be terrific pitchers.
Yeah. And really, Louisville has the advantage in that regard. As good as Drake Fellows has been, and he's 9-0, Reed Detmers is going to be first-team All-American. I mean, he's got 120 punch-outs and going to be the ACC Pitcher of the Year. Now, you know, Nick Bennett will probably throw number 2, and, of course, Bobby Miller's done a nice job for them on the weekend as well, but Kumar Rockers would probably get the advantage in a Game 2 scenario. So, you know, heck, it's kind of a draw, and that's why both these teams are so highly regarded. That is a nasty break.
Sure is. 1 out away. These teams have met 5 times in the NCAA regionals. They've met 2 times in the supers. They're kind of tired of running into each other before they get to Omaha.
And if they're both national seeds, they won't have to worry about it.
Right. That really appears to be that's a foregone conclusion.
Yeah, I would think so.
Right?
Yeah. Based on, you know, Louisville's at Virginia and home for Florida State, I don't see them going worse than 4-2 in those 2 series, and that puts them at 22-8 in the regular season ACC champs. They're going to be a national seed. I mean, that's just all there is to it. And I think Vanderbilt's final record's probably going to be right there in that 22-8 record or neighborhood as well in the SEC. And, you know, they're going to be probably the number 2 national seed. I don't think they can quite catch up with the resume that UCLA's put together, but they're right behind them.
0-2 from Brown with 2 outs. Breaking ball, ground ball, third. And Martin's been a vacuum all night over there, and Vanderbilt wins on Louisville's home field. Final score 6-2.